Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Pope Italicus, and welcome back to Rock and Roll Religion. And we've got a really special one for you today. This is probably the best of the horror bands that we've done in the last month or so as part of the Halloween experience. And I wanted to do it this week as a reminder that Halloween is with us all the time, as long as you keep the spooky spirit inside you. You better believe in the devil because he believes in you. But we're going over probably one of the darker bands that we're covering, and one of the best, King Diamond. Which you guys are in for a treat on this one. And helping me do that, as always, is our sentient spice rack and marijuana plant. Sorry, nerves. How's it going?
Hello, hello. Smoke weed and hail Lord Thoth. Happy to be
Praise
here
be Lord
again.
Thoth.
Praise be. Happy to be here again and talking about one of the coolest horror themed metal bands I've heard in a long time, King Diamond.
Super
This is
unique.
going to be a fun one. Yeah.
Like, there's nobody that sounds like him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And once again, we have our Finnish representative on the panel. We have Mila. Welcome back.
Hello. Glad to be back. I'm glad I'm not as haunted as King Diamond. That's something I can say.
And then, as always, we have our laser-guided commie-killing Steel Eagle of Death, the Sentinel. How's it going, my friend?
Hail. How's it going, man?
Good, man. I can't wait to talk about these guys.
Yo, they're fucking awesome.
There's really no there's really no downside to their early stuff.
Oh my god, Fatal Portrait, Abigail, Them, and Conspiracy.
I figured Fatal Portrait would be like the weakest of them, and you know what? It holds up pretty fucking well to the other two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And let me get my graphics up here.
Maybe I'll wait to name the band members, in a bit, because that first lineup is just.
Oh yeah, the original lineup of this band is fucking insane.
Oh
yeah, it's really good too.
I like the artwork on this one. Yeah, it's pretty.
On all three of them, I like it because it's just spooky enough without like really giving away what you're in for.
Yeah, King Diamond shouldn't have had his face just plastered on.
Hey, Papa Cotton's here. How's it going, buddy?
Papa Cotton.
Hello.
Then the Sergeant Herbs guy who keeps talking in the chat. I don't know who he is.
I don't know, man, but I feel like he's trying to copy me, and I'm getting a little irritated.
Kind of sounds like a geek.
Copyright infringement.
He's a nerd.
But no, I mean this album. I think I have the track listing here. Super interesting how they come in with that synth to kind of mimic almost like a church organ.
It does set the tone pretty well for the rest of the album, I feel like.
It's just distorted enough that it kind of raises the hairs on the back of your head a little bit, and you're just like, what?
King Diamond has always been great at like, even if on the like kind of a taboo stuff like a synth or some kind of electric organ during that time, it's kind of frowned upon a little bit. But what it does is it creates this atmosphere, and it really gets you into the mood of what King Diamond is trying to tell, almost like the story.
All three of these records kind of follow that pattern, where like the first song is just kind of to get you in the mindset, of what you're about to listen to,
right?
And I love that because it's like you need that a little bit of like in the movie industry, movie or book or books, you'd be calling that like setting.
Yes.
Like because you're like you're putting people in the setting for the story they're about to hear, because that's what these is horror novels being told in a heavy metal format, which is fucking cool as hell.
My only complaint about this album is King Diamond hasn't remastered it yet. It hasn't beefed up the sound.
Yeah,
it sounds okay, but it compared to like Abigail, like when you get to the sound of
I
Abigail,
did notice that when I was listening through all three of them. There's a huge jump in audio quality.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I figured that was why, because one of them had been remastered and the other one hadn't.
Yeah,
because the recording technology in the 80s was so, but it wasn't anywhere near modern standard.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was a lot of shit on the low end, especially, that you would just not hear.
Right.
So
Mhm.
You know, the bass, like the drums, like compared to like Mickey's drums on Abigail, the drums on Fatal Portrait, they sound very thin and
yeah, they do sound kind of muddy.
muddy and
It
dark.
is, yeah, it is a bit muddy. And
You could,
and like you said, it's probably because of like the recording quality at the time that they recorded this
And
album.
especially when it's your first record. I mean, I know King Diamond
Yeah.
had prior
Merc-
experience with
right.
Merciful Fate, so he already had
Mhm.
his foot in the door. But usually, the first album a band does is their weakest in terms of audio quality
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
because you don't have the money to go out there and just rent a high end studio. You get what you get,
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
and you get what you can afford, which is usually not much.
And
So
so I'm reading the bottom of this here, where it says it was issued under license to Roadrunner Records. Like they probably had a like a set amount through their contract with Roadrunner for like how much they could spend on studio time, but
probably,
like likely it wasn't like as much as like a more seasoned band. Like say it was like their fourth or fifth album, they would have had more money for studio recording time. Like, and that yeah, you're right. It's usually on a band's first album, they're not going to have as much of a budget for production quality to like really shine through.
and
And
I could see them doing a little bit better for this album because King Diamond was already well known
right,
as the singer
Hmm.
of Merciful Fate, so they had something to go off.
yep, yep,
So I can see them giving a bit more, but not AAA band money
right, exactly,
because you're a new
exactly,
band, you're still unknown,
yeah, yeah.
and guys like Andy LaRocque and Mickey D, nobody had ever heard of before.
But even with that, like, even though the like production quality isn't top notch, like the everybody in the band, like their playing is still top notch. Like
And
all of
honestly,
these
and I
guys are
kind of feel
really
like the
good.
muddy quality helps it a little bit with that ethereal kind of spooky sound.
Right, yeah.
Like, because it kind of sets the mood as a little bit eerie, a little bit off.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And you're almost like you're seeing everything through like a thin cloud of smoke or something like that, or kind of the same thing, just audio, just with audio. So I really do dig that where it's kind of got that mist or that fog to it, and this one is not way is not one of those that come later that it's a full self-contained horror story, but it also has very very creepy undertones to the whole thing.
Yeah, and it
Like
still
again, the
has the
song
haunting theme.
for the second week in a row, the song Halloween is fucking amazing. As
Right,
as
right.
as the chat will know, last week we did Halloween,
Mhm.
and oh man, I adored doing the research for that. Like sometimes, like you're just not in the right headspace for a band, but you have to do them.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
like, and it's not to say I don't like the band, but I'm just kind of like, oh yeah, I got to read this and listen to this again. These last 2 weeks, I have thoroughly fucking enjoyed.
Yes.
It's like, oh no, I have to listen to Keeper of the Seven Keys. Darn.
uh no, those are great albums. I'm definitely gonna spin them again because I had
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of fun listening to them.
And like Papa Cotton says, like the only way to listen to a King Diamond album is all the way through front to back
Oh,
Yep.
because it
100%.
all just runs together, and I
Mhm.
love it.
Yep.
Started out my day with listening to yeah, I was messaging you earlier. Not Abigail, but what is the second one called?
Them.
Them. That's
If
right.
we're
That's right.
updating it for modern audiences, it would be they them.
Oh my god, I didn't
Oh
think about that joke.
no.
That's more horrifying than anything he says in the album.
Oh no.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Maybe because the king is a chemist from Denmark. Maybe he's all about the science and doesn't believe in the multiple genders thing. Who knows?
Huh? Good point.
Man of science, perhaps.
A true man of science.
That's funny.
But no, I mean this one had some interesting concepts in it, like Fatal
Mhm.
Portrait, like a haunted painting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's something you see in a lot of horror movies from like back in the day, and it's a cool concept.
Mhm.
Hmm.
The Portrait is a good song. I like that
Yeah, it
one
is.
a lot.
Yeah, I
There's a
like
lot
it
of
a
stuff
lot.
to like on here.
Mhm.
Sharon is another one.
Sharon,
Mhm.
yep. or Charon, however you want to pronounce it.
Yeah,
My favorite track is probably Halloween. And
I love that one.
Halloween's great. Haunted's another beautiful one.
hmm
Mm.
Like there's even on the first one, take your pick. Soul Assassin. Yeah, congratulations, we did it.
Pope couldn't resist.
Hail Soul
Yes, I
Assassin.
can. Like, and that one was so easy too. It's like I can't not make that joke. Come on,
No.
right there.
That's great.
When in Rome.
Right?
When in Rome, right?
But no, like this one was a really, really pleasant listen, even for a first attempt. And then we get into them.
Oh, Abigail. Abigail's after Fatal Portrait.
Abigail's number 2 or number 3.
No,
Is it?
Abigail was released in 87, and then Them is released in 88.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess
Yeah,
we're going out of order. Huh?
Sentinel
Really?
Fright.
That's the order I
Yes.
put them in. So, whoops.
Okay.
All right.
I don't know why I got those flipped around. But yeah, I mean, Them is another great album too. I mean, you have a really cool story, and probably one of their most well-known tracks with "Welcome Home."
Oh yeah.
Right at the front. It was right at the front.
I like that one a lot.
And those of you who are fans of
The Invisible Guest
the
is
older
awesome.
Clerks movies might recognize part of that song from Clerks 2.
Yes. Yep.
Back when Kevin Smith knew what a movie was.
True.
Sad but true.
Yeah. And
I
then-
actually like the Invisible Guest, T, Bye Bye Missy, and I think the other one. Fuck. Never mind. It's probably the Invisible Guest, T, and then Welcome Home in that order. Just an amazing.
Oh yeah, I mean they're
songs.
all good in their own way. I
Yes.
think the Welcome Home is probably my favorite out of all of them,
Mhm.
just because that
Okay.
pounding friggin' rhythm in it.
Yeah. I really like the first half of this album a lot. Like all the way up
Mhm.
to Mother's Getting Weaker and Bye Bye Missy. Like
Yeah.
they're all great songs.
Yeah,
I
Bye
re-
Bye Missy is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I also like Broken Spell a lot.
hmm
Broken
Yeah,
Spell's
good one.
good. Yeah.
I think the title track's really good,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah.
and I love how they tie it all together with Coming Home, where it's like kind of back where it all started.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Like it's a full
And-
story.
Yeah, and it's all, but it's also kind of ready to start again,
Right.
which I think is cool because it's a horror album. So it's like all of this creepy supernatural shit that's been going on the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not clear whether it's been resolved or not, or if it's
Oh.
just sitting there waiting for someone else to find it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is. It is not resolved because it's the first part of a 2-part concept album. Because Conspiracy is the sequel to them.
It's
know
true.
that. I don't know why I
Yeah,
never connected the two.
Conspiracy ends the story, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That one too.
I love Conspiracy.
Yeah, I love Conspiracy probably more than
So in
them.
that,
Yeah,
in
me
that
too,
case,
me
they left
too.
it on a
That's
cliffhanger
awesome.
and it made you wait another year for the album.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty cool. I've never heard of an album leaving somebody on a cliffhanger ending before, which I approve.
Yeah, not even Iced Earth really did that, huh? Like they'd wrap it up with their entire album. Like they had
Well,
a
I mean, some
Actually,
albums are also an hour and a half long.
Actually, Iced Earth did something very similar to what King Diamond did because John Schaefer released Framing Armageddon, and then he released The Crucible of Man, and that tells the entire story of Set Abominate, his fictitious kind of antichrist figure from like, it's really cool. When we get into those albums, I'll definitely apprise you of the story because it's fucking amazing.
We need to do
Okay.
more Iced Earth. That 4th of July
Definitely.
episode we did was great.
totally down for that. Yeah.
Yep.
And I mean, Iced Earth's got a ton to offer. Like, throw a dart and you're going to run into a great album in their discography.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But no, this one was. I didn't realize that this was after that. I should have, given that I have the freaking picture and it says what year it was made right in it. But I just never put two and two together because I'm not a smart man. But no, I mean, Welcome Home, like just by itself, like I think has probably been most people's introduction to King Diamond.
That's possible. Yeah.
Mm.
because this is the one like you see all over YouTube playlists, or a lot of people have done reviews of it.
That's true.
And I'm not entirely sure why, because it's not the first track on the album, but it is the first real musical track. Because Out from the Asylum is basically just setting the stage.
Mhm.
Right.
And I love how this starts with this record where King has such range to his voice that he's playing multiple different characters.
That's right.
Oh yeah,
Talking to each other with different parts of his voice, and it's fucking glorious.
Dude.
I think he's also the grandma character.
He is.
He's
yeah.
all of them.
Interesting. Huh. Yeah, I didn't watch any of their music videos. Oh, one thing I was gonna say is I'm really enjoying King Diamond's vocal range. Like, so from like the first album to this one, and of course Abigail too, but like the dude's got a fucking range. Like he can
He
hit
can
those
go
from,
all the way
like
from a falsetto all the way down to that deep snarl.
deep
that he-
growly.
Mhm.
Yeah,
fucking love it.
he's
He
got
can
that like
roar if he wants to.
thrash growl, but he can like it sounds like it goes higher than Rob Halford. Like
Well, that's a falsetto though, so it's not part of his natural range.
yeah.
But yeah, he can get right up there.
Yeah. It's
He can do it
awesome.
so effortlessly too. He just switches gears constantly,
Yeah, his head
which
voice
must
Yeah.
be
is
hard
amazing.
as fuck to do. Like, obviously, I'm not a
really
singer,
like
so I
it.
don't know, but it must be hard as hell to just go up and down the scales like that.
Lots
on
of
a moment's
practice,
notice.
definitely. Lots of practice, but yeah, there's not a lot of people that have the kind of range that this guy does. It's just
Mhm.
absolutely insane.
There's a reason that, like, when we talk about like great heavy metal singers, King
Mhm.
Diamond is almost always brought up.
Yes, he's in like the top 10 at least for heavy metal.
He's
singers.
in the same conversation as, like, your Ronnie James Dio's, your Rob
Yes.
Halfords, Jeff
Mhm.
Tate,
He's that level.
Michael Kiske from Halloween usually shows up in there.
Right.
I also love how King Diamond talks in the interviews.
Yeah,
He's always got this really cool accent, and
well, it's 'cause
I
he's
would
big.
do it, but I can't do it without cracking up. I wish I could.
Mm.
Oh, Soul Assassin, King Diamond definitely has operatic training. Like, it's too similar and too theatrical to be anything else.
Yeah. That was one thing I was thinking too. Like he's got to have some form of classical or like opera training, because the way that he sings, like he just has his control is just too good, like he's been professionally trained. And
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that's the right word for it, is control.
Mhm.
Because you can
Mhm.
tell, like, every note he ever puts out, he meant to hit exactly that note for that reason.
Yep. He's really good. Yeah.
And at the end of this slideshow, I have a picture of him himself live, so we may go
Very
to that
cool.
for a second. And I love
Oh,
like
that's
the
awesome.
theatricality of his stage shows. I
Mhm.
want to see him live so bad. I never have.
He just played in Dallas, I think.
What?
Yeah,
gone to
yeah.
that.
He
That's cool.
did.
I know
I
he's
couldn't
coming.
go, but
He's coming like the week after I leave to Boston. with
I've seen
Merciful
him
Fate.
in Finland before, but that was years ago. But he's
gotta
really
see
good
him.
live.
But figures like the week after I'm leaving, they're coming up here with Merciful Fate. So
Oh no.
I had the
That
same problem,
sucks.
man. I had the same problem in
Shit.
2019. He came up to San Francisco, and I was like busy in a move, and I just couldn't get out of it and get there.
That sucks.
Yeah, it was. I really wanted to see him. I've never
hey,
seen him.
Ruben's here. How's it going, my friend?
Hello.
Hey, Ruben, what is up?
Hell,
Always glad to see you, man. We got to get you on one of these streams too, because I know you know a lot about, and Ruben knows a ton about like classical music, like actually like trained, and then there's me being a degenerate headbanger.
Yeah,
But
you would be a
no, I'd
great
love to
guest.
talk some actual, like, show like an actual musician some of this shit and see what they think.
Yeah, that'd
Like,
be
especially
awesome.
a classical musician, because there's a lot borrowed from classical music in these records.
Oh, absolutely.
Like a lot of the arpeggios and stuff that Andy's using, and just like the whole aesthetic is very classical or Baroque.
Mm-hmm.
And not necessarily with these guys, but Halloween, I noticed it a couple of times, and a ton of other power metal bands. I will hear like a section of a song, I'm like, is that out of this, like, opera or whatever? Because they will steal sections straight out of certain parts, like the song "Altitudes" by Jason Becker. He's literally playing Phantom of the Opera at one point.
Interesting.
I'm like, wait a minute, I know that tune. Yeah, man, we could. We are going to get into the origins of rock and metal at one point. I'm doing the research for it right now. That'll probably be my project while I'm off air. Because for those of you who don't know, I'm going to be taking a hiatus as of next Friday. I'll record a couple of videos so you guys have something in the meantime. But then whenever I get set up down there and actually get everything working again, then we'll be back to normal. But I'll be doing a lot of research onto like the first decade or so of rock and roll. So like from Chuck Berry all the way up to like, I'd say we go to 1970. So the first like 15 years. So
Okay.
1955 to 1970.
That makes sense.
Because that's a good bookend because that's where heavy metal starts.
Right.
Yeah.
Is Black Sabbath in 1970. So I think that'll take us into a really good place, and we get to see how the sound evolved from blues and R&B into rock and roll.
Mm-hmm.
And let's face it, there's some great artists in that period too. You got Chuck Berry, you have Elvis,
Little Richard, Jerry Lee Lewis. Jerry Lee Lewis, who unfortunately passed a couple of weeks ago. Nice.
So rest in peace to that man. And oh man, dude, I would have loved to have been to seen that. I mean, I was a year old, so I would have
Whoa.
been in position to. But
Oh, you were at the Headbangers Ball? Like, oh, that's sick. That's sick.
Yeah.
Headbangers Ball was always a great time back in the day.
I wish I could have experienced that.
I wish
you're
I was...
absolutely right. Back when MTV weren't pussies and
Right.
actually still played music. Oh God, I miss those days. MTV used to have the best shit. Like they used to have Headbangers Ball, Beavis and Butthead, freaking Celebrity Deathmatch. Like MTV used to be where it was at. And music, and they had all of the best music, and they played everything from metal to pop. Like there were bands that were made on freaking MTV. Pretty much in terms of like that's where they got their real big break, was one of their videos made it to MTV and they blew up because everybody watched that shit back then. And that would really like started the art of the music video, which I love some of the early 80s music videos where it's just a bunch of metalheads being nerds in front of a camera.
Right.
And like you can tell they have no idea what they're doing, but they're having fun. So it's not the most professional thing ever, but I love it. That's right. Yeah, I forgot about Jackass. That was a good show. Well, amusing. It wasn't a good show.
Steve-O's still around skating, apparently.
Is he really?
I've seen some YouTube videos where he's been going around doing some like skateboard tricks and stuff, and I think he's got a show that he's doing, or either no, he was just on a show called Barracks where they have a bunch of skateboarders and shit. I don't know if Steve-O's doing his own show right now, but I saw him skating recently, so I was like, hey, cool. Glad to see he's still doing it. You know, he's got to be what in his like
killed himself yet
40s or 50s now.
Yeah, I think he's in his mid 40s because he was already in his mid 20s when that was back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So that was, not to put the date on myself or anything, but that was like 20 years ago because we were still in middle school. But no, man, that MTV used to be the shit back in the day. And like this is like I want to see King Diamond live so bad. I haven't. I keep meaning to, but I haven't had the chance to yet. Have any of you guys seen him?
No,
I have.
You have?
Yeah, in Finland. I don't remember when.
That must have
but...
been a sick show, though.
Oh yeah, cool. It was. He was really
especially,
good.
I feel like bands put a much better effort into your European tours than they do the US.
I don't know about that, but it was amazing because
Well,
it's
I see the stages that they set up over in
Mm.
Europe, and then compare it to what I've seen over here, and it's just like, I mean, maybe the venues they play in over here are much smaller,
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
think it is. It's
so they
the
don't have
venues are
room
smaller
for their
because
full stage show.
mhm. It was on a festival, and he was at the headliner, like the last.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, who's
And
going to go on after King Diamond?
yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's just like, I wouldn't even want to be in that position. It's like, how the hell am I supposed to follow that up?
And he's very popular in Finland, so it was a great gig.
Oh, I bet. I mean, especially with the black and death metal crowd, like he fits right into that genre
Yep.
too. Especially with Merciful Fate
Mm-hmm.
being one of the really early black metal bands, really. Like in terms of lyricism, especially. Like they were one of the. I mean, musically they were more towards the classic heavy metal styles, but lyrically they were satanic as fuck. Songs like the Oath and shit like that. It's like, oh, okay.
I was watching this really good, like professionally, like well, not professionally, but I was watching this really good recorded show that this guy did in L.A. of Merciful Fate, and I was listening to some of the lyrics, and you're, oh my god, the music is like you were saying, it's classical heavy metal, almost like new wave of British heavy metal, kind of a little bit in there, the kind of
Yeah, it's a little
tropes.
darker, but
a little darker,
but right there with Maiden and Priest and stuff like
right.
that.
But the lyrics, yeah.
Yeah, that probably raised some eyebrows back when they first started.
Oh, of course, yeah, absolutely.
Because that's one of those like, oh, okay, this is that kind of band.
Especially in Sweden at that time, because Sweden was like very pop oriented. ABBA probably playing on the radio all the time.
Yeah, Scandinavia back then must have been a very different place than it is now, because heavy metal is like on the radio all the time over there, which must be nice because I can't even find a rock station.
I know,
anymore.
right?
Same. It's all country out here, or Christian music. Because
there's one rock station around me, and it plays like all the classic stuff.
You're lucky.
All the shit like you hear at like football stadiums, like that's what they're playing, and it's like I've heard all of these songs 100,000 times. Play something different.
Yeah, right. It's like
Right.
reach into some Merciful Fate or freaking King Diamond or Judas. I mean, Priest still gets played on the radio every now and again, but
yeah, but it's usually the got another thing coming or breaking the law. That's about it. Or it should be like the Sentinel or the you got I don't know what the fuck is it called? Electric Eye.
Yeah,
I want to hear those
the Hellion and Electric Eye, or one of my personal favorite tracks from them, Rock Hard, Ride Free.
Yeah, that's a cool song.
Like, why not put some of that on there? Because let's face it, Defenders of the Faith wasn't exactly a commercial flop. But I mean, yeah, it's all in what I guess people, or I guess they know what they're doing. They know their market.
Yeah.
And we're just a really tiny minority of that market. We just don't get our way anymore. But I missed back when you'd hear like Twisted Sister or Ozzy and stuff like that on the radio.
Right.
Because they used to play it all the time. Like WBCN and WAAF were the two big rock stations out here.
They had the Bone Metal Zone on 107.7 The Bone in San Francisco, and I remember back in like 2000, they were doing this like in 2001 through like 2006, and that's how I discovered Primal Fear. One night they played Black Sun by Primal Fear. I was like, "Ooh, who the fuck is this?" It's like Priest, but like made today.
It's like Priest but darker. I like it.
Priest but darker.
Primal Fear with Ralph Sheepers that they had was fucking glorious.
And that was another band that got me into power metal. It was like 2001 for me was like, because I hated new metal, but I was like, like you kind of listening to it and dressing like that because that was like the thing to do at the time. I was like 12 or something like that.
Yeah, the less said about the late 90s, early 2000s.
The less said about that era, the better. Like,
a method of dress better.
2001, like two albums like changed my life. Holy Diver by Dio and Trilogy by Yngwie Malmsteen. That was like the power metal, like supernova in my head. That just kind of.
It's kind of hard not to listen to Yngwie Malmsteen and not become a power metal fan.
True. or a fucking guitar fan. 'Cause
Yeah,
shit
exactly.
he does is just fucking awesome.
Like he's one of those guitar players. Like you'll watch him do what he does, and then you're just like, I play guitar, and I still don't know what the hell you just did.
He's a showman too, because I've seen him live, and he would like bite the strings with his teeth, and
Yeah.
put the guitar behind his back and do his solos. And he was like, and he picks his picking is so clean too, and he's using
Oh,
a
no.
scalloped fretboard for additional sound. And
Yep.
Soul Assassin has asked the question.
how many? I didn't have Jinkos. I had I did have the Adidas, and I did have the red. I don't know about the red. I think I had a black baseball cap, a black Volcom baseball cap, because I was also a skater. Did a lot
Okay.
of skateboarding
Yep.
at the time. That's how I fucked up my ankle.
So you were like the stereotypical Californian.
Oh fuck yeah! Stereotypical
Dude.
NorCal,
Same
That's so
here.
true.
stereotypical
Same
NorCal
here.
thrasher.
Yup. Same.
I mean,
I-
I say that, and yet I grew up, being like the stereotypical masshole. Like played hockey, loved going snowboarding and shit, and then freaking, all that kind of stuff. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay.
We have some good snowboarding spots in California, but that's only
South
like
of
a
Lake
few months
Tahoe.
out of the year. Yep, South Lake of Tahoe. Yep,
Yeah.
and then Sierra. I used to go to Sierra a lot too, which I think is basically South Lake of Tahoe or whatever it's called.
What's the one that ends
forget.
with a star? It's like something star, blue star. Black
Yeah,
star?
it's either Blue or Blue Star or the other one. I can't remember, but I know which one you're talking about. I used to
Yeah,
go to
great
party with
snowboarding.
friends.
Great snowboarding up there.
But it's only like a few months out of the year, right? So like the rest of the time, we're just skateboarding on the streets.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whereas
yeah.
up here, winter lasts for a while.
Yeah, I know.
Mm,
Like, I mean, I think we've already had snow on the ground at Halloween.
That
Yeah.
sucks.
Like,
Mm.
especially up in Vermont. Like, your first snow is going to be in the middle of October.
I'd rather live somewhere cold rather than somewhere where it's like fucking 100 degrees half the
you
year.
say that, and then you go to an area of the world where it's minus 35 at certain points.
Yeah.
Then you're just like, yeah, no, never again.
The really
This
hot
is true.
is almost tolerable. The really hot I could probably deal with more than the really cold.
Same.
Yeah,
like,
it's a little
Yeah.
even
harder
up
to
in
understand.
Wisconsin, where it's like 120 degrees during the day. The problem with that part of the world is that it changes really rapidly and really wildly.
Mm-hmm.
Like it'll be like 120 during the day, but it'll get down to like 65 at night.
Mm. Yeah.
So it's really, really variable. But then again, I mean, in Massachusetts, I've seen it go from being 75 and sunny to snowing in the same day. So, weather's weird around here.
Oh, I bet.
And it really
I bet.
doesn't like you most of the time.
Sounds like Finland.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Although
Is it really
a little
humid
bit
in
south,
Finland?
we're farther south in terms of latitude than Finland is. Finland's up by the Arctic Circle.
Oh yes.
Like I had a buddy of mine that got stationed up in Alaska somewhere, and they were like right near the Arctic Circle. And dude, being in the military is miserable enough most of the time,
Mm.
and I can't imagine being in the military where the sun doesn't rise for 6 months.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I just talked to my dad and he was complaining about that. I haven't seen the sun.
Yeah, it's just like
Don't
how
you
do
also have something called the sleeping
Americans
sun? Where it's
already suffer from a deficiency of sunlight. Like we all have a vitamin D deficiency.
yeah.
Because we don't
Don't
get
you have
enough sun.
something in the summer where it stays sunny even at midnight?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah, that's almost as bad because it's still daytime out even though it's 11 o'clock at night.
I had constant insomnia every summer.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never having a sunset because the sun basically just doesn't set.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
I think that's why. The previous drummer for Nightwish, he had to step away because he was dealing with insane insomnia.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
I bet.
did.
And it's something that humans are just not meant to deal with.
Yeah.
So we evolved kind of nearest the equator, and it's just like you're not supposed to have like months on end where the sun don't go down. That's not good. But no, that's got to get crazy. And that's how you get bands like this. Because they actually finally just go insane and put on the makeup and then just start playing really creepy shit.
Indeed.
But no, I mean, this album, them, like, apparently is the third album. I thought it was number 2. I don't know why. That's my bad. You'd think I'd actually check these things, but I don't. But yeah, and then we get into the real...
The masterpiece of
the real magnum opus from this band, Abigail. And once again, the art is just fucking spectacular.
I love the art on this one a lot. Yeah.
And I know, like, you know, people who watch the show all the time, you know, I comment on album art all the time, but this is why.
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine walking into a record store and just seeing that on the shelf. It's like, ooh, yeah, let's give that a shot.
Mm-hmm.
And like we said last week, like, I have bought albums straight up based on the album cover.
Right. Yep.
And most of the time have been pleased with how that turned out. I mean, you get burned every now and again, but most of the time, good albums have good album art because they actually put the effort into all of it.
Oh, absolutely. Because that's how you make your sales, you know? It draws the eyes. People go, ooh, what's this? This looks cool. And then end up picking it up, you know, just... Yeah, album art was how it was sold. And that's definitely still a trend I'm happy to see continues. Like, you know, you have your mainstream pop artists, of course, that like aren't so much into that because they're all about selling singles. But it's good to see that there are just metal bands in general that really pay attention to the art and want good art. They'll hire on good artists to make their album art for them because that's part of your marketing and your branding and everything. And also, it's just a really fucking cool thing to have, you know?
And it shows attention to detail and effort to put into the whole thing. Like yeah, a band can shit out an album in a year, but it's not going to sound good.
Right.
And the art's probably not going to be very good and stuff like that. And that's indicative of that. Of just the care and craftsmanship that go into a record like this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can do some basic bitch Photoshop, like a couple of the Iron Maiden albums.
Oh my god,
we
yeah.
covered recently.
Virtual X.
Oh god, Virtual 11 was just
Virtual 11.
Oh no! Oh no!
It was just
And
bad.
the cover of Dance of Death is...
The cover of Dance of Death is pretty bad.
It is.
Oh god, why?
Unaware of this one.
Oh boy.
We haven't
Look it
covered
up,
that one yet. It's the one right after Brave New World.
It's
Brave
New World probably has one of my favorite album arts.
Yeah, and that one's really good. And the ones both preceding and succeeding it are not.
Horrible. They're just garbage. I'm sorry, I'll be blunt. They suck.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
And they had one moment of sanity in the middle there.
Come on, Rob Smallwood. Do better.
Do better. Although that's just Maiden in general at this point. Do better, Maiden. Do better.
So the first track off this is called Arrival.
The Funeral.
The Funeral.
The Funeral, yep.
Little Abigail,
and the story behind this one's creepy as hell.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's a story to this?
Yeah.
There
This
is.
is a whole horror novel.
Okay.
Where basically, like, I think in 1777, this girl is born stillborn. And her soul kind of infests the house.
Guys, there is a King Diamond graphic novel for Abigail.
Oh God, yes, I would buy that in a heartbeat.
Oh.
Want me to post the link in the private chat?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I will be.
Yeah, I
purchasing
wondered
as soon as
about
I get
the
a new
song
address.
titles. I wasn't sure if they were like, if this was a story they'd made up, or if it was like a based on a true story type deal.
This is all shit I think they made up.
Okay.
But basically, like in 1777, this girl is stillborn, and her soul basically infests the house.
Oh wow!
And then in 1845, this guy named Jonathan and his wife Miriam inherit it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely buying a hardcover of this. This looks awesome.
And you go to, and they, go to take the house. And even like right at the beginning, like a pair of like locals tell them like, hey, don't, like, I would turn around and walk away if I were you. Some really bad fucking juju happened there. Like the house is like very creepy.
They basically the Black Horsemen, which were the ones who were able to stop Abigail, at least for a time, they crucified her or something. Put like 7 nails, something like that. 7 nails on her. God,
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, so
stillborn.
there are Z2 comics, just like the one I had for Judas Priest, which I'll show
Yeah,
you
I
guys in a
know.
bit. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna buy a hard copy of that.
Oh
So
yeah,
thank
same
you
here.
for showing me that one. That one's going in the collection.
Oh, definitely.
I did not know that was a thing. King Diamond does have an action figure too. Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just saw that. Like, I was like, oh, sick. I might just get this.
Yeah, Lemmy has an action figure too.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
And of course, it comes with the cigarette and the Jack and Coke. 'Cause of
Hell
course.
yeah. Okay, I need to get that too.
It's a little expensive, but yeah, you can definitely get it. He's got 2 action figures. He's got a first appearance, and
Yeah.
then he's got the Merciful Fate figure.
Very cool.
But yeah, I mean, this album, I mean, and like especially like the song Abigail itself, like that's toward the end of the album where basically the soul of Abigail basically inhabits. Mila's back.
Hi, sorry. I kicked myself out. trying to shop for King
Oh
Diamond
no.
comics.
Oh no.
This is how you know we're actually fans of the shit. We don't even wait till after the show to go buy it.
Just open up another tab and then go about the business. You know.
Exactly. And if I'm really smart, which I'm not, I would probably actually be entering my credit card information on live TV.
Oops, Amazon. Bye, StreamYard. Bye.
Don't bother copying my credit card. I don't have any money in it anyway.
Soul Assassin's comment right here. This actually just reminded me of a doom metal band I found recently called Bellwitch Doom.
Ooh.
I think that some of the lyrics that they write about, at least on their first EP that they released, are based on the Bellwitch story that he brought up in the comment. They're pretty good, but you'd have to want to listen to a doom metal. Is like they're very slow doom metal, which makes sense.
Which, I mean, we just covered Candlemass a couple weeks ago. You know I'm into it.
Right.
Mm.
But they're good. I like Bellwitch Doom. But yeah, we're checking
Which
it out.
that stream got copyright claimed, so that one's over on Rumble. It's
Oh, okay. Yep.
not available on YouTube. I had to take it down because
YouTube
YouTube hates fun.
Lame.
sucks.
Yeah.
If I get over to 100 subscribers over on Rumble, I can live stream over there, and that's where Pope's Midnight Mass is going to come to fruition. So we can do some like radio stuff and actually play some music for you guys without worrying about the YouTube algorithm coming down and whacking us with the band hammer.
Rumble's
Which is what
growing.
happened on it. Which is what happened to that one.
I've got a channel on there. I know several people are on there now.
Yeah, I'm. All of my episodes are backed up over there. Actually, I should probably link that in the description of this video. I'll probably do that after we're done here. But no, I mean, if Rumble's a good platform to have as a backup, especially because their auto sync feature is really easy to use, and basically just when you create your account over on Rumble, just set it like that, and it will 24 hours after the YouTube video is done, like all these streams, they're up over on Rumble. Without most of the censorship bullshit that we have to deal with over here.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you actually did.
I think that's correct.
Let's see here.
Oh, yep. Here we are.
Okay,
Subscribed.
excellent.
Everybody else should also go subscribe to Pope's Rumble.
Yeah, because I mean, I know 100 is almost as many as I have over here, but if we can get over to 100, we can get. I can actually live stream over there, so I can actually like play some music for you guys. We can talk about it live and stuff like that, which I think would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of a late night stream.
That would be fun. Yeah.
Just kind of vibe with you guys, play you some of my favorites, take some suggestions. Maybe it's some shit I haven't heard before, which would be cool.
So,
Because that's one of the things I love about doing these bands, especially bands that you guys want me to react to or to do, because sometimes I haven't heard it before. Like was that band we did with Raven, Goth Minister?
Goth Minister. Yep.
I'd never heard them before. You know what? They're pretty good.
Oh, that reminds me. I was telling you on a Discord the other day. I had a song to show you. I'll send it to you so you can listen to later.
All right, definitely.
Be good.
And then I obviously find shit every now. I find a gem every now and again and put it up either over on my Gilded page or just on Discord in various people's servers, because I don't have my own server on Discord. I'm trying to move away from that platform.
Yeah.
At least
Discord is
mostly.
for me, at least, is fucking hard to navigate.
Discord?
Gilded is so much easier. Yeah, for me,
Gilded is Discord, but a little more streamlined in some ways.
yeah,
it is
it's
more
easier
limited,
for me
though.
to like figure out where things are and go through it, and it's just simpler for me. I don't know.
Yeah,
why.
it's in certain ways it's a lot easier to use. Like especially like I can create a calendar over there. So if you're in my Gilded server, every time I put a live stream up, I usually put it in the calendar. Pretty much as soon as I create it, so you guys know when I'm going live. So that way you guys never have to miss anything, and I get to hear back from you.
Very cool. Very cool.
But no, it's Gilded. I think with a little bit of extra work, which will come with the user base. I think could be a viable competitor to Discord in the next couple of years. So that would be really, really cool.
Yeah, it's very likely to see Gilded kind of take over stuff pretty soon, or at least like be a healthy competitor to Discord, because they have a lot of the same features and they have other features that Discord doesn't have, like the automated bots that will post notifications for your streams and stuff like that. And
yeah, that's something I haven't played with yet. I know I could set it up. I just have been too lazy to go through and learn how to work those.
Same, yeah.
Like especially when I go live on Twitch, it's very irregular. So I do like to notify people when I do, so people because like you guys get to remember I have a Twitch account just about 10 minutes after I do. It's like, oh, that's right. I do this thing every now and again. And you guys get to watch me suck at video games. Which I love video games a lot. I just don't pretend to be good at them.
Right. Same.
No comments.
Milo, we've all seen your stream.
It's mostly
Hey, Pickles is
dying.
here. How's it going, man?
Hi.
Pickles.
Hello.
Good to see you, man. Glad you could make it. And man, this is one of those streams I'm glad that people can make, because holy shit.
Fantastic band, yeah.
Like Herbs, like you'd never listened to these guys before.
Yeah, they're very much a recent addition for me. Like there's some Halloween like metal bands, but it's really rare. And like even finding like Halloween, and we were talking about it last week. I don't know if I mentioned it, but like that was one thing that I've always wanted to have more of, is like not just Halloween themed metal, but like horror themed metal in general, especially just because like a lot of the metal these days with like some of the underground or indie stuff that I listen to, there's just really none of those bands do anything horror themed. And so it's really cool to find that there's like a lot of like old school or like traditional metal bands that have like really dove headfirst into the horror theme.
Especially because the genre is so perfect for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And like there's a couple of bands I've found that will like have some sort of aspect to them that's kind of like horror-esque, but outside of like just straight diving into goth music or goth metal, which nothing wrong with it, it's just not
Yeah, I mean, we
always
did
my
that episode
jam.
with Raven. We did that episode with Raven, and I ended up liking what I heard. I just never heard it before.
Yeah. I like it. Just not always my jam. I want heavy stuff like metal, so
Yeah, like I'm slowly getting into death metal by fits and starts. And Paradis has been showing me a couple of bands that I have really liked.
yeah.
And there were bands I knew about before that were death metal that I enjoyed, like Bolt Thrower and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh
But
yeah.
when we talk about them, I finally get to indulge my 40K nerdy, because that's what the theme of a lot of their music is all based on Warhammer 40K, which is like one of the most metal fucking settings ever.
Oh, yep,
I
definitely.
mean, you have giant freaking superhuman super soldiers with goddamn chainsaw swords battling literal demons.
You can't get more metal than that.
The shit writes itself.
Yeah, but I've really been enjoying this band that I've been listening to the past few days. I'm waking up and listening to Abigail and Them this morning. I was like, perfect way to start the day.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they're really good.
And especially as we go along in these albums too, King's voice, like he develops like newer sounds to his voice.
You know, you're right. You're right.
Mhm.
Going
Like he
from
has newer ways to creep you out than he used to.
going from Fatal Frame or Fatal Picture to
Fatal Portrait, yeah.
Fatal Portrait to this one, yeah, you can definitely hear that. Like I don't want to say like matures, but like he does kind of evolve the way that he sings, or like he adds more to his repertoire. Like it's really cool to see. I like it. But,
Yeah, it was really interesting to see like the new ways he would sing about different characters. Like I said, he plays multiple different characters with his own voice.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which, you know, that must be entertaining as hell to see on stage, watch a man sing, like having an argument with himself while he's singing.
Mm.
But he pulls it off. Like it sounds insane. Soul Assassin, that is one of my dreams, is to actually get a band together and do some sci-fi shit. I even have a name for the band. I'm just not going to tell you guys because I don't want anyone to steal it.
Mm.
But no, I would love to do that. I'm just nowhere near good enough to put a band together yet. Because like especially the last like few months, I haven't even had time to practice. I try to make time for it, but especially with half my shit packed up, and
half my shit, like all my musical instruments are in storage right now.
Yeah,
sucks. I've been able to play for like 2 years.
Oh, dude,
boy.
that sucks. Especially because like it's something I used to look forward to every day, like coming home from work. Like, yes, I'm gonna go practice for a while. Like that was kind of like
Guitar Center like 3 or 4 different times just to get that itch out. You know,
Yeah,
just go there and play.
been there. Although I have to resist the urge to go into guitar centers and play the song which must not be played.
There's a few of those on that list.
Yep. But there's one that's on all of them, being Stairway.
Yep.
Oh, I have to resist the urge, mainly because it's Guitar Center and they fucking deserve it. Hey, Zambi's here too. All the gangs pulling in. How's it going, Zambi? But no, I cannot recommend these albums highly enough. Like especially the first 3. After that, they get a little inconsistent. Conspiracy's still pretty good.
Mm-hmm. I love The Eye.
Me too. I love
that's a
the
good
conspiracy in the eye.
Yeah, the first 5 really are pretty good, and then after that they get kind of inconsistent because at that point you no longer have the original lineup. I mean, Mickey D had already gone off to play in Motorhead.
Mm-hmm.
I think Andy LaRocque had left by this point too, although he comes back later.
Yeah, after The Eye, I think King Diamond rejoined Merciful Fate for an album or 2. And
He did.
And
Or
then came
actually,
back
was
with,
that more recent? I can't remember.
No, this was like back in the 90s when he first reunited with Merciful Fate.
Okay, yeah, that's right. I forgot he's done it twice now. Because like, you know, singers do that, or musicians in general do that, where like they'll go off and do their own thing for a while and then come back. I mean, it's happened to Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden. Rob Halford's done it.
Dio has done it several times.
Dio's been in like 4 different bands.
Well, yeah, he was in Black Sabbath, then he left, then he came back to Black Sabbath, then he left, and then Sharon Osbourne was acting like a,
Well, she's been a cunt the whole time.
And then but then he rejoins basically Sabbath in the form of Heaven and Hell, so he's three-peated.
Well, that is actually Black Sabbath, but that was after the first album he did with them that Sharon Osbourne kicked up a fuss so that they couldn't tour as Black Sabbath.
Right.
Even though it's Tony's band, not Ozzy's.
Exactly. And they sold the fuck out. They played arenas and stadiums.
I don't blame them. Everyone wanted to hear Black Sabbath. I mean, who wouldn't? Which, I mean, speaking of Black Sabbath, there's obviously a lot of inspiration from them in some of these tracks. Like you have that kind of darker imagery. You have like a lot of those long riffs and stuff like that.
Acoustic
you can hear the DNA.
Yeah, acoustic intros and minor chords and stuff like that.
It's just kind of like, ooh, yep. I can hear the Sabbath influence. There's a lot of Priest in here too.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can definitely hear that from King singing.
not only King's singing, but Andy's guitar playing too. Like some of the phrasing and stuff sounds very similar to some '80s Priest,
Oh yeah, yeah.
which I could not be happier about, obviously. But yeah, that was like that's the cool thing about doing this is when you see a ton of bands. Oh yeah, I mean, you can see the level of talent, not even just talent, but work that King Diamond puts in on these records.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't get your voice that well trained, that well honed, and that versatile by accident.
Right.
I'd say the top 3 tracks on this album for me are probably Arrival, A Mansion in Darkness, and the title track.
Yeah, I mean, Abigail is on another level.
I love the rhythm section. Da, 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 da. It's fucking cool.
And when I was listening to this track just before the show, after the album ended, it kicked me over to a random playlist, and the track it was playing was "For the Glory of" by Testament. And I noticed at that point that the main riff for that song is almost identical to Abigail.
Cool.
I'm not sure who copied who there because they came out about the same time. But it was interesting to see like the same phrasing in both songs. I was like, ooh, okay. I see what you're doing here. Maybe it's just because I just heard that song.
Right.
But it really did.
Testament.
Yes, Pickles, I will let you shame yourself further. You're lucky Imperatus isn't here. You'd be cursed by now.
Oh yeah, Imperatus would tear him a new hole.
It's 22.
Which is why I'm disappointed Imperatus isn't here to see that.
Oh man.
But you deserve it. You know you do, Pickles.
Testament's first album, The Legacy, came out in '87. Their second album, New Order, was '88, and the third album was '89.
So it's likely this came out first.
Yes, it did, '87. So they were definitely vibing on some King Diamond.
Okay, which no shame in that.
Right.
Like that's one of those like if you start taking stuff from bands like this, Sabbath, Priest, it's like no one's gonna blame you. In fact, everyone's gonna be like, a fellow man of culture.
Yes, exactly.
But no, I mean, like this is one of those artists. Like it's impossible to describe without playing you guys the music. Just what is going on.
I think that we could safely say that get this album based on the fact that it's, other than Operation Mindcrime, it's like number 2 greatest concept album. In my opinion.
I'd say it's right up there. In fact, I might even put this one ahead of Operation Mindcrime.
That's a good point. Operation Mindcrime gets pretty proggy at times.
It also gets fairly long at points, like Sweet Sister Mary. Like
that's true.
Like it kind of brings you out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong; it's still a brilliant album, but
absolutely. But I know what you're talking about.
But it has its points where you're just kind of like, okay, can we get on with it now?
Right.
Well, you're just sucked right in from minute one.
They're tight, perfectly paced tracks, heavy, aggressive, brilliant.
They're very dark, very creepy, like. And when it comes to just overall quality of, how it's received, I mean, I gave myself fucking whiplash just rereading or just re-listening to these things for the show. So, we're on another level. But no, this thing is just, if you're going to get any one of these 3, Abigail's the one.
Yes, I totally agree. Absolutely.
Like this one is if you're going to come into King Diamond, this is how you want to come in. Fatal Portrait's pretty good too as a starter because it's kind of a little more basic sound. And one thing I noticed with them, you don't hear the bass almost at all.
No, you don't. That's the biggest thing I hate about them is the drums are too thin and the bass is so thin.
Yeah, the bass line between the drums and the bass player is just kind of weedy.
It doesn't have any meat to it. It doesn't. Where's the fucking beef? You know what I'm saying? And the only way you can really experience like the heaviness of them is like hearing it live. To be honest.
Yeah, and like, I want to see these guys live now so bad. Like, I've
Right.
been a fan of King Diamond for a lot of years, but I hadn't listened to a lot of it recently. I'm like, oh yeah, this is why I fucking love them. That's right.
I think I listened to Abigail every fucking day in 2008 because that was like the first King Diamond album I got was Abigail, and I listened to it religiously all throughout that year.
Yeah, and like people growing up now don't remember what it was like when you only owned like 3 or 4 albums as a teenager or whatever, because we didn't have any fucking money.
Now they go on
Right.
YouTube and they got the whole discography and all the bootleg tracks.
Now I can buy digitally or in physical media all the music I want, which is why I still have no money.
I can relate. I usually spend my money on the hard to find imports. Like I just recently bought Wasp's Eldorado and Unholy Terror.
Oh,
Fantastic albums.
Eldorado is such a fucking good album.
It's pretty good. I would say for me, it gets a little redundant, at least for my ears.
It does.
I love the title track, but Unholy Terror for me, it was I had to pay over like $40 to get it pre-owned on eBay. Totally worth it. Amazing.
But Wasp has some great tracks, especially later on.
Oh yeah,
like Babylon's Burning and stuff like that. Like, woo!
We got to do a Wasp episode, bro.
Oh, we will.
Oh, that'd be fun.
That's been in my back pocket for a while.
Hopefully, sometime before December 9th, because that's when I'm seeing them in San Francisco.
Ooh,
I'm looking forward to that concert more than anything else in my life. Pretty much.
Hopefully, I'll be up by then, and if not, well, we can do it we can try to do it the next week, and
awesome.
You can tell us all about the live experience because I've never seen them live. I really want to.
They're awesome. I can't wait. I've been waiting 20 years since I discovered them in 2000.
And let's remember, folks, Wasp is the reason we have the parental guidance label.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, that first album by Wasp was the thing that set Tipper Gore off and started the whole PMRC bullshit, which is a badge of honor at this point.
Interesting. I didn't know about that.
Yeah. Basically, she walked into her son listening to The Animal. With the subtitle, I Fuck Like a Beast.
Which I heard Blackie may or may not include in the set list. Heard he's bringing that one back. Can't wait.
Tipper was a closet fan. Well, I mean, it would fit. Her husband's a closet something.
Yeah.
But no, that was they were responsible for all that. Which I would love to see what people like Tipper Gore would have thought of King Diamond. Like if she thinks Wasp is bad, oh no. I love that. Like I love that that's the one. Like Wasp is like in terms of lyrical content fairly tame.
Yeah.
For the most part. I mean, you have songs like Chainsaw Charlie, which get out there. Still my favorite song from that band, but then you have like some of the darker imagery and like this or Merciful Fate, or God help her if she found like Gorgoroth or Bathory.
Oh,
I think the thing was for her that set her off is like these were the bands that were played on the radio mainstream in the 80s. If King Diamond
song was never played like that.
Animal?
Yeah.
It was a big single. You're right. It
wasn't that's right. It was
a big single.
Shit, you're right. I forgot that. That was one of the singles off that record. Oops.
No, the Fuck Like a Beast was its own single. And the first Wasp album apparently didn't have Animal Fuck Like a Beast. And then when they did the remaster and re-release years later, they included Animal Fuck Like the Beast as the opening track, which is perfect because that's how the album should probably start.
And Soul Assassin's right with this one, where the parental guidance warnings are like the greatest advertisement ever. That's how we knew we were getting the good shit. It's like I remember like being in middle and high school. I used to seek that shit out. Like, yep, that one right there. Which, oh man, that was. And I remember, like, you know, every store used to have a record section. And you used to be able to tell the really good ones because they're the ones you had to go to Tower Records for because nobody else carried it. Because, like, I know Walmart and a couple other places, like, had, like, a morality clause on the music they would allow, and that was definitely not on it. Like, most metal bands were they're just, no. which, it was the 90s. The religious right was doing their bullshit, which is kind of funny because the far left is now kind of turned into the same people.
Oh,
they're-
exactly.
They're, in my opinion, they're worse. I don't remember the Christians in recent memory burning shit down.
True, but
They used
they
to.
were also the
Not in
people
recent
canceling
memory.
canceling people, trying to get games pulled, trying to get albums
Yeah.
pulled off the market.
Mhm.
So similar kind of censorship bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
That is true.
And I hear these days, I hear the far left making the same arguments they used to make, like, "Oh yeah, video games are causing violence and shit." It's like, no, you idiots!
Mm-hmm.
Like these, it's like these people are making the same arguments the other side used to make, which is why everyone hated them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to be the anti-fun party.
Right.
And the left at this point is very much the wet blanket of the community. There's that one friend that complains about everything and never has any fun. Just like,
Yeah.
come on. And
We all know one.
the fact that they're miserable doesn't mean that we can't have fun.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, just because you don't find this shit entertaining doesn't mean I don't. Let me have my fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let me have my heavy metal and shit like that. It's not hurting anyone. And actually, there's been a couple of like actual clinical studies done, and apparently metalheads are like some of the chill, which is what every metalhead I know like just understands, is that we're some of the nicest, most chill fans you'll ever meet in your life. Like out of
I
any
agree.
musical genre, like if you've ever been to a metal show, like yeah, we're throwing each other around and shit, but everyone's nice, everyone's just happy, smiling, like
Gotta watch out for the drunks.
Right.
Yeah.
Rowdy.
yeah, that happens too. But that's part of the fun.
This is true. This
And
is true.
sneaking booze into metal shows has been a time-honored tradition since the beginning of the genre.
Oh my God! Don't even get me
Absolutely.
started. Injected watermelons.
Yep. Injected watermelons were a big one.
Vodka in the water bottle. It's
Yep.
just water, officer.
That was one of my old tricks. That was one of my old tricks, but I
Yep.
don't really like vodka all that much. So
Sam.
I don't think I ever drank any alcohol at a concert, to be honest.
Smart.
And the reason I didn't is because I guess I wanted to be sober to really take it all in at the time.
Yeah.
That's the best way to enjoy. Yeah.
yeah, Lord Thoth brings up another great part of metal shows where occasionally you will see a woman flash the crowd, or the band, or both.
It happens occasionally.
More than
Thank God it
occasionally.
still
Like,
happens at like
it's a
Motley
habit.
Crue shows.
Oh, like in my case, I went to a I think it was a reggae show. Some like current reggae bands that are really popular. Pepper's one of them, and there's a couple of others. But they're a couple of the bands are from Hawaii, and they do summer tours every year across the states.
Okay.
Always outdoor festivals, so you're like absolutely guaranteed any one of those shows that you go to, you will smell some cannabis, some herbs. And you will
some of
also-
the devil's lettuce.
Very it's summer, so a lot of the people there are lightly dressed, so there's quite a few ladies at the shows that will flash. And I mean, there's beer and weed everywhere at all of those reggae shows, but always a fun time. I've been stoned more than once at one of those reggae shows. That's great.
Oh, it's great seeing to go to see shows like that, especially if you're the sober one because you have to drive or
Oh,
whatever, and like you just
yeah.
get to point and laugh at the silly monkeys.
I usually just grab an Uber, get a hotel
Yeah, that's the
nearby.
smart way to do it.
Yep.
Oh, dude, that sucks. It's all his ass, and when you're the guy that passes out, and like, especially if you're there by yourself, because who's going to help you?
Oh yeah, yeah. Those...
I have been that person.
Oh
Oh, no.
no.
I
Yeah.
had to help somebody out. I was at a Epica concert in San Francisco, and it was in this really small club, and it's just poorly ventilated. This one guy in the pit just passed out, just fell like a bag of rocks. Bam! And two of us had to just carry him out and just place him. It's like give him a little smack. It's like, you okay, buddy? It happens. It does happen.
It does happen. Yeah.
Although there was one show I was at that we dragged this guy out to the back, had him in the bathroom just because, like, try to get him someplace quiet that had water that we could kind of splash over him and stuff like that. Make sure he was okay. This dude fucking sits up. We tell him what's going on. He's like, "Oh shit, sorry guys." Does a rail of coke off the freaking bathroom stall and then goes back into the show.
Oh no!
Like, that man's a fucking trooper.
all the way to
about
full.
to die, one or the other.
Oh my god.
That
Energy restored.
pretty funny.
That is like the most rock and roll move I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
Just
Oh
like,
man.
it's like either you're about to have a great night or your heart's going to explode, and I'm not sure which is going to happen first. But that's part of the fun of going to shows, especially is like the crowd and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like I've met so many people that we just jive with. Like at the Judas Priest concert a couple days ago, or a couple weeks ago. That like me and him just like started talking before the show because we're just standing there waiting for the band to come on.
Mm.
And turns out like he's also a 40K and BattleTech nerd just like me.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
And like we were just kind of like just had a great conversation.
I had a similar situation. I was at the Metal Masters show, Judas Priest, Heaven and Hell, Testament, and Motorhead.
At that show, you
2008.
son of a bitch.
I was at that show, thank God, and I was.
I wanted to go to that tour, but I had duty, so I couldn't.
Yeah, I know that sucks, man. It was really fucking good, and I was chatting up to somebody, just kind of hanging out, and this guy was the drunkest person I have ever seen in my entire life, and I'm an alcoholic, and this guy was so drunk. He had like 50 beers, and I swear to God, he was telling me
That's
the
not drunk.
entire-
That's alcohol poisoning.
Yeah, he had borderline alcohol poisoning. But he was telling me the history of fucking Judas Priest to a T.
Oh wow.
It was he was like Professor Halford at the time, and I couldn't believe the guy was that present of
Was
mind.
that with it when he was borderline dying?
Borderline dying, and he was like telling me stuff I had no idea was true, and then I looked it up later, and it was totally true. I was just like, holy fucking shit, where is it? I wonder what happened to this guy. It's just amazing.
Oh, dude,
Great combo.
Soul Assassin. Some of the hilarious shit that we've seen happen at shows,
Mhm.
and the couple getting caught fucking in a porta potty. I didn't even see that at a metal show. I used to work for a brewery. Every year we do Oktoberfest in Boston. I used to work for Harpoon Brewery. If we didn't find at least one of those every hour, we weren't doing our job.
Damn.
Oh my god.
Every hour.
Fucking ridiculous, man.
Oh my god.
We used to kick people out for that shit all the time. It's just like, oh god, and especially when you're the one walking in on it and it finds it. It's just like, oh,
Yeah.
come on,
Yeah.
Porta shredder, really? Why don't you just draw a dick on the wall like everyone else?
Yeah. Porta potty. That's like the worst. That's just the worst place to do it. I mean,
That's how you get the AIDS.
Oh
yeah.
jeez, man.
That's how you know when they're drunk. Oh my god.
Yeah, especially if she's willing to fucking a porta potty. It's just like, dude, I don't know what the hell's going on in your brain box right now, but not good.
Oh man.
I don't want to even go to pee in those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're so nasty.
I choose the forest.
So did we usually. Like if we were on base or whatever, and we had the option of going in the porta shredder or going in the woods, most of us chose the woods. Just because it's so much cleaner.
Yep.
Smells better too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it smells better. Yep. Smells
But
way
no, the
better.
shit that goes on at fucking festivals. I've never been to a bigger festival because none of them are around here.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to go. I would love to go to Vakken one day.
Same.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Dude, could you imagine that if we all just went to Vakken one year?
That'd be nuts.
Dude, that'd
I
be
would
fucking
go
awesome.
with you.
Hell
And
yeah.
just spend a week just fucking thrashing out. Be fucking glorious.
Just don't let me drink vodka, okay?
I'll be the designated whatever. I'll make sure.
It will be whiskey, not vodka.
That's the spirit.
That could get ugly.
Oh no!
I'm Irish. Whiskey makes me want to fight people.
Oh.
That is so true.
We'll get our ranger panties on and we'll find some mud, okay, Pope? No
Hey, the
homo.
proper name for those is silkies.
Silkies, okay,
And we wear
okay.
them too. I actually have an American flag pair that I've worn to a bunch of hikes.
Nice.
It's basically the man's version of booty shorts.
Yep.
And believe it or not, that's actually what we got issued as PT gear.
Okay. Okay.
Like our PT shorts were that short. We're like 70s basketball shorts.
Damn.
Like,
Well, at least it keeps you
especially
cool,
bad
right?
when you're like stretching out, like doing like butterfly stretches. You feel like your nuts are gonna pop out.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh yeah. Those are always good memories too. Like the two guys that are just punching at each other, and both of them are too drunk to fucking hit the side of a barn from the inside. Those fights are hilarious though, because just like you can tell when one of them hits, it's going to be the end of it because both of them are barely standing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, one of the greatest fights I ever seen was like two drunk women. I was like really, really young at the time. This was like 2000. My first Metallica show, Summer Sanitarium at Candlestick Park when it was still around. They were scratching at each other's faces, man.
Oh,
it was just
fights between
insane.
women get fucking vicious, man.
Jesus, I was like, what in the? I was like thinking, are they on crack or something? It was, and my mom had taken me, so my mom was there trying to protect me from these two fucking coked out chicks. Just literal cat fight.
Oh man.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that sounds wild.
It
But not
was.
necessarily in a good way.
That show.
I know
that show
you
was wild.
can. That doesn't mean you should. Oh God. Yeah, they are the kind of shorts though that you put them on, your voice goes up an octave, just like.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, although speaking of last week's stream, I watched somebody sent me in private chat or like a DM a video of Pumpkins United, which was a tour that Halloween did not too long ago, and they actually
very
had all
cool.
3 of their singers back.
Oh wow.
They had Michael Kiska, Andy Darris, who's their current singer, and then Kai Hansen was also there playing guitar and singing.
Okay.
So it was fucking glorious. I'll send you guys a link to that show in the private chat if I can find it again, because that shit was epic as fuck, and I want you guys to see it.
Yeah, that'd be cool to listen to.
And like, this was actually a video; like they recorded it all.
Oh right. You said you sent you as a YouTube link.
There we go. This was a tour, and I think this is the one he showed me. It's in Chile, which is interesting. All right, we copy the link here, and then I'll throw it up in the private chat. Actually, I'll throw it up in the regular chat too. Fuck it. The rest of you guys deserve to see this shit too.
Cool.
But no, man, that was a hell of a performance by an absolutely masterful artist.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Halloween, like me and the Sentinel are both huge Halloween fans. Like I have been for a long time. Like when I first started getting into power metal, like I think I came in through Sabaton. And then I started getting into the older shit, and I found Gamma Ray.
Mm-hmm.
And I really, really liked that. And then one of my buddies who's a huge power metal nerd was like, "Have you heard of Halloween?" I'm like, "No, it sounds kind of gimmicky." Like I've seen the name around, but it sounded kind of gimmicky because like, Halloween band. Okay.
I had the same feeling for years because
and then I heard I Want Out. I'm like, ooh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's like these guys actually have some bangers, and the thing with I Want Out is like it's a very mainstream song where it's just a straight up banger. Like it's a good song, but it's still kind of simple in terms of the construction of it. And then I heard Halloween.
Right.
And I was just kind of like, oh, I gotta hear everything these guys have done now. Because I mean, just like King Diamond, like the musical arrangements on everything are just gorgeous. And like you can tell everything's done for a reason.
Yeah.
Like King Diamond, like the entire 3 albums we just talked about, like they exist to do one thing and one thing alone, to creep you the fuck out. And they do it very well.
Yeah. That's something I wish Slayer had stayed with. My favorite version of Slayer is like the creepy, atmospheric hell awaits.
The early Slayer that was very
Yes.
Venom inspired.
Yes.
Like Black Magic and stuff like that. Like, oh god, it was good. It was
Right.
borderline black metal.
Yeah. I love Rain and Blood, but I really appreciate the more atmospheric stuff. Like
Oh, Mila kicked herself out again.
And Hell Awaits.
Ah, Mila.
Uh-oh.
Come back, we miss you. Oh, I'm sure she'll be back in a minute. Yeah, there she is. Welcome back again.
Thanks. Sorry, guys.
You were checking out the video and didn't
Yeah, I
realize that you were
was.
closing everything out.
Every time. Oh my
You're like
god.
Charlie Brown with the football. But no, like these 3 records, like it's almost impossible to overstate how important they are in the history of metal. Like there are entire bands that formed themselves around this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I can fully see somebody picking up Abigail or Fatal Portrait or something like that and going, I need to play that.
I think out of the first 3 and out of the ones we were talking about today, I would definitely recommend Abigail to somebody that hasn't heard King Diamond before.
It's a good starter album for them.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's kind of everything they do well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's sort of like, if you are getting somebody into Metallica, you don't give them Kill 'Em All, you give them Ride the Lightning.
Exactly.
Right.
Because
You were
that
just
is
thinking the
everything
same
they
thing.
do well.
Just thinking the same thing.
And then you give them Master Puppets
Whereas
and
Kill
then
'Em
Kill
All
'Em
is a
All.
little bit aggressive and a little bit raw.
Yeah. Whereas like
Ride the Lightning is just that perfect line of aggressive versus produced and very tight production.
Right.
So you can hear everything and stuff like that. It doesn't sound cheap.
And also growing as songwriters.
Yeah. I mean, you have songs like, and yes, they're the most famous songs on that record, but Ride the Lightning itself is fucking phenomenal. And then you have Trapped Under Ice, freaking For Whom the Bell Tolls, which will be played until the sun goes dead. There's a whole Call of Cthulhu, Orion, a whole list of fucking classics that come out of that record.
Creeping Death is
Creeping Death,
one.
yeah.
Creeping Death, yeah.
And then it continues. I mean, honestly, it continues on Master of Puppets with songs like "Disposable Heroes" and stuff like that. Actually, for those of you who don't know, I'm doing a Veterans Day stream covering All Quiet on the Western Front, both the book, the '79 movie, and the new movie that just came out on Netflix, which I'm going to be watching pretty much right after this stream.
Very cool.
I think, Mila, you've already seen it.
Yeah, highly recommended.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen the new Netflix one. Okay.
So like the song "Disposable Heroes" could easily be put to that. Especially like just that chorus line, like "You will do what I say when I say back to the front."
Yeah.
What cool lyrical phrasing.
Ooh, chills.
Yeah, because for those of you who don't know, like what life was like on the front line back then, like you would get rotated out and get to go be behind the line for a while, and then you'd get to go back and just you just get that would just become your life, and that's actually a big part of the book, which I just finished rereading. And like I was saying to Mila before the show, Eric Remark, the author, has to be so fucking. It has to be a veteran or so fucking close to one that they would talk about this shit. Because the mentality, what happens when you're on the front.
I think he was a veteran. I'm just Googling his name.
It is just like it's pitch perfect. Like it describes the mentality of like eventually you just become numb to it. Like, obviously the first, few days you're up there, you're terrified all the time.
Oh yeah, I bet.
And then you just get numb to it because it's either that or go insane. And some guys do.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Like you just accept this as your new reality now. Especially back then, because it wasn't like it is now where we would do like a deployment of like 7 or 8 months, come home for a year, and then train up to do it again. These guys were there until they either died or the war was over. And I think something that was even worse was they would get to go on leave every now and again and go home.
Yeah.
So you get that little like 2-week taste of what normal life is like again.
And then just right back.
But then you have to go back.
Yeah.
So like, you can enjoy yourself and all that, but you're also that specter is looming over you the entire time of this is a periodic respite. This is not the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And oh man, it's such a good freaking book. All of you need to read it. And me, 70s Rock fan, Trucker Rob, Mila, and maybe Mark the Cyborg, if he's around, are going to join me to do that.
Very
and
cool.
You guys are welcome as well.
It's been a while since I read the book. It wasn't since I was like, I think in middle school or something like that.
Yeah, I know we had to read it in school.
Yeah.
I'd have to reread it. I had some shore leave stories that are not YouTube friendly.
Oh my god.
I can only imagine.
You guys would look at me in an entirely different way if you've seen the shit me and the boys have gotten up to. Especially after many, many beers.
Oh boy.
Although there was one article I was reading a couple years after I got out that was absolutely motivating as shit and made me very proud of my Marines and sailors. That apparently we had been doing an exercise with NATO and on the way back had stopped in Reykjavik in Iceland as a port of call and had literally drank the town dry after 2 days.
Is that the town in Iceland?
Yeah, that's the capital of Iceland.
Capital of Iceland, okay.
Oh my goodness.
We drank the entire town dry. Like they
oh
were
my
out of
god.
Turned
That's
the wet bar
expensive.
into a dry bar, but it was the whole town.
We literally drank it all.
Oh my goodness.
In Soul Assassin, I was never actually on the Thailand muse. I have heard stories. Man, am I glad I was not in Thailand. Oh, it's not even just like the hooker thing. It's that everything's so cheap over there. Like on one of our paychecks, you can live like a king. Like you can have an entourage follow you around.
Yeah.
But oh man, that would be its own rock and roll diary. The shit that we got up to. But no, I loved that we literally drank an entire town out of alcohol in 48 hours, which fits the sailors and the Marines.
Oh yeah.
But we're just like, oh god. I'm like all of a sudden the population of Iceland experienced a boom. It's like, I wonder why. The Marines showed up. I haven't moved yet, Fizz. I am still in Massachusetts. I am moving next week. So this stream, I'll be on 70s Rock Fan stream later this on Monday, tomorrow. And then I'm doing a Veterans Day stream and maybe a quick one on the 10th because the 10th is the birthday of the Marine Corps. So if I'm still sober enough, I will probably do a quick video as a message to the Marines and all that. Maybe do a quick history of the Marine Corps for the rest of y'all. Like just a quick and dirty version. Very, very dirty, given my mouth. And then the 11th we'll do our Veterans Day stream, and that will probably be it, other than a couple of pre-recorded videos from me. For a while, at least. So, Soul Assassin, we can smell the booze. It's a skill. We're like drug-seeking dogs, except we're gonna immediately consume all of it when we find it. But now, I mean, we're rather like metalheads. Where, you know, I've seen this at other like musical events where where genres kind of mix. And like everyone else is just kind of milling around and whatever, and then we show up in our leather jackets and freaking spikes and shit like that, and everyone's like, "Oh god, the metalheads are here." And I can't blame them because we are kind of like Klingons.
Kind of like Klingon. Oh my goodness.
We kind of are. We wear a ton of leather, we wear a ton of studs, and we drink a lot.
Yep.
So it's just like, oh god, they're here. And yeah, Pickles, you have no idea the kind of shit we get up to. And that's what makes the Brotherhood strong, is just the ridiculous, not even like the combat stuff, but like just the ridiculous shit we get up to. That no one would ever believe if they weren't there. And like, because like, you know, everyone has these pictures of Marines as like, you know, like the very stoic, very professional, you know, assault troops. And then you meet the real Marines where we're basically, I mean, when we're on operations, we're exactly like that. But when we're just kind of hanging out or waiting for something to happen, we're basically 4-year-olds with automatic weapons.
That's one way to put it.
Oh boy.
I remember one time we put a grenade in a washing machine just to see what would happen.
Oh no.
It was fucking hilarious.
God.
Did you turn the washing machine on too?
No, oh well, we couldn't because there was no power. But
Okay.
we wanted to see if it would contain the explosion or not. Spoiler alert: it didn't.
Oh
If
my
anything, I think it
goodness.
amplified it.
Oh man, that must have been a sight to watch.
It was. In fact, one of us almost got hit by the door.
Oh my goodness.
We never said we were smart. This is what this is why freaking people call Marines crayon eaters, because they watch us do this shit. And it's just like, oh my god, they're either going to kill themselves or this is going to be hilarious. And sometimes it's both. Pixels. Yeah. Hey, welcome back, Papa Cotton. We've been talking. We've already talked through the King Diamond stuff, so you missed the good part. Now we're just bullshitting about random things. But no, that's actually a good question. What's the craziest thing you guys have seen at a metal show?
Craziest thing? Okay,
Craziest slash funniest.
Craziest for me would have to be so when I was still in Sacramento, there was a really popular hardcore band out there, like hardcore punk, and one of their guitarists had a habit of, while he's playing guitar during their set, he would climb the I don't know if the scaffolding is the right term, but it's those like big metal bars that tower over the stage.
Yeah,
Little,
scaffolding essentially.
yeah, they would like hang the speakers like 15, 20 feet above the stage, right? So you have those like
So he's climbing the speaker
above-
tower.
he's climbing the speaker tower and played like a minute and a half, 2 minutes of the song, and then as the song is finishing and wrapping up, he does a backflip off of it while he's still playing guitar. I'm just like, what the fuck?
How do you even do that?
Very skinny and agile.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh my god.
So something that we couldn't do.
Right, exactly. Yeah, dude was like 5'7" or 5'8", maybe 110 pounds. So,
Okay, so like really,
yeah.
really skinny.
Really
we
skinny,
try,
yeah.
if I tried to do it, I'd look like King Kong.
You and me both, man. But yeah, no, probably the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Roar!
Just watching this guy climb the speaker tower and then do a backflip off of it after finishing the song. And that was just like one of the songs in the set, but it was like one of their like faster, heavier songs. So it was like, and this band has their guitarist and their vocalist had a reputation of doing that at all of their local shows, and they ended up getting really pretty popular in the area.
I can see why if that's part of their stage show.
It was one of the old guitarists for a really well-known band out of Sacramento called Dance Gavin Dance. They started another band called A Lot Like Birds. I don't know if you've ever heard that second
I
one.
don't think I have.
Dance Gavin Dance has gotten to be like pretty well-known across the states. They're kind of like post-hardcore, I guess you could say, or like screamo, some people would call them. But yeah, no. I just happened to be at one of their shows for another band, and I saw the guitarist do that, and I was like, "What the fuck, man?"
Yeah, like that's just one of those like things that sticks with you. Like that's fucking unusual, even for a metal show. Which
Yeah,
most these guitarists do some crazy shit.
yeah, but it was pretty cool to watch, definitely. But I don't know about funniest, but that was the craziest.
About the bravest / funniest thing I've ever seen was watching a guitarist crowd surf while playing the solo.
Oh hell yeah!
Which
Yeah.
was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And another show I was at, this was a local show. In fact, one my buddy used to put on. Where like, it's in a small bar. So like, the crowd's right there. And the guy during the solo was in the middle of the pit. Like he ran out into the crowd. He was in the middle of the mosh pit while he was doing the solo.
Oh, that's funny.
With us going nuts right around him. It was pretty cool.
I don't have crazy stories like Herbs, but this is pretty normal if you hang out with Finnish people. My friend, we were in a festival, and it was 5 a.m. and we were one of the few people still awake, a group of Finnish people, the ones that weren't passed out. And he was like...
So you were the sober ones.
Yeah, well, so he was like, he's the most calm Finnish guy ever. He's not like the total drunk. So he was like, okay, I'm going to take off all my clothes and I'm going to run through the festival area. I'm going to come back.
And you said this guy wasn't a drunk.
And this is like absolutely not normal to him. So he just took his clothes off, all of it, and ran through the tent area. And I don't know what happened to him, but he came back a couple hours or like later. And we were like, yeah, a couple hours he was gone. He came back in the morning.
Now, I have seen naked men run through the tent area of festivals before, but that's usually because they got caught with somebody's wife or girlfriend.
Oh, no. If you hang out with Finnish men, they always take off their clothes for some reason. It's just not sexual or anything. Just do it.
Doesn't it have something to do with like the sauna situation that you have in Finland during the winter? You guys are really into the sauna.
Yeah. I think it's because it's normalized. They just do it.
Yeah, you go in there and
Finnish
you
culture,
make it,
that
warm up,
sauna is
and
just
good to go.
everywhere. Like, most houses have one, don't they?
Oh yeah, my apartment had it when I lived there.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But that's the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of a festival or gig stories.
Get drunk, get naked, run wild.
Yeah.
Yep.
No. Pickles, that does not surprise me at all.
Somebody hurt somebody and a brawl broke out.
Bro, I've heard that at a hockey game.
Oh, I could see that for a hockey game. Yeah.
Like, literally, I have had cheers go up from the crowd while I've been on the ice. Hit somebody! All right.
Awesome. That's awesome.
You know, I
Oh,
really
man,
can't think
hockey-
of a super wild
I
story.
think hockey prepared me for metal shows very well.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Football
Except
did the same.
when I'm
for
playing
me.
hockey, I'm wearing pads. So it doesn't hurt that much.
Before I fucked up my ankle, I was playing popcorn. I was really into football, physical, the pads, the whole 9 yards. And fucked up my ankle, and I couldn't play for the high school team. But that definitely prepared me for moshing in the pit. When I would, you know, when you're young, you can do pretty much anything.
Yeah, mosh
Right.
pits are a lot funner when you're younger.
They
Yeah.
It hurts a lot more now. I still do it.
Yeah.
You bounce
But
off.
we've
You got like
got
rubber
that
ball.
smart. So
Yeah.
I'm not smart, but I am fairly large.
That helps.
So I do get my way most of the time. Oh, huh. Yeah. Yeah, the metal scene can be a bit of a shock when you get in there. Especially, I've said this in multiple streams now, but the Wall of Death,
Mm.
when there's a few people in there that this is their first show and they don't know what's going on yet.
And have no idea what a wall of death entails. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that, it's like, why is everyone on one side of the uh-oh?
Yeah.
Well, it's like
They figure it out like 2 seconds too late to get to one side or the other.
Right.
they figure it out like as the wall is like crashing into each other and you're like caught up in it. Yeah.
You're just like,
Oh man.
I've seen that go. I've seen that look come across someone's face of, what the hell's going on? Uh-oh.
That just like dismay and realization.
Like you just kind of hear the, the gear click over in their mind is, I'm in danger. Oh, it's so much fun though. Soul Assassin, I've seen that video. Like there's a wall of death with a bunch of people in T-Rex costumes. It's fucking hysterical. I also watched a video where this was during a hurricane at Camp Lejeune. One of the guys dressed up in the T-Rex, in that inflatable T-Rex costume, and tried to run up the quad as fast as he could before the wind pushed him back. He made it like halfway, which good on him.
I mean, some people still.
And then he went rolling ass over tea kettle back to fucking barracks.
No, it's not. Yeah, but it's a hobby. Burns, it's a fucking hobby.
No, it's retardation, though.
Nope.
Just admit
It's
it.
fine.
You're
It's a,
mentally
it's a
retarded.
fucking nope. It's a hobby.
Is there an echo here? Or
Yeah, I'm hearing an echo too.
It might have been me. Sorry.
okay. Yeah.
Is it gone now?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
It's
Okay, good.
gone, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
Pickles. That's about all you can do is just kind of just turn right back around and do your thing and just be like, okay, whatever happens over there is none of my business.
Yeah.
And yeah, Thoth, you think you and me had talked about this before. Where you played hockey. I mean, but you're Canadian, so you're basically born on skates. Then again, I'm from New England, so am I. My best hockey memory was actually when I was really young. I grew up in the Bruins practice. I was taking skating lessons in Restucia Arena in Wilmington, which is the Bruins practice rink. So our skating lessons were right after the Bruins morning skate got over, like their morning practice. So a lot of the guys would hang out and talk to us. And I was probably 5 or 6. And I was taking, hockey lessons from guys like Cam Neely, Ray Bourque, like the big hitters from the Bruins at the time. So that was really cool as a kid. And just to plug a friend's show, two good friends of mine, Brahmable and 70s Rock Fan, have both started a hockey blog that I was supposed to be on, but they did it really late at night for me. So, because they're like 2 hours behind me. So I didn't realize that was even a thing until they wanted me on it. I got that message this morning. But you should absolutely go check it out. It's called Bourbon and Boarding. If you're into hockey, absolutely check it out. I will endeavor to be on there in future because hockey is one of the things I love. Right up there with metal, militaria, and baseball. So absolutely check that out. And yes, Thoth, I'm from fucking Boston, kid. I root for the fucking Bruins. Oh, my biggest mosh injury. I did fuck up my knee pretty good at a trying to remember which show that was. All That Remains was playing was when I got hurt, but the headliner was Volbeat. That was who it was. With I Empire opening. So that was pretty cool. It was a good show. And I fucked up my knee pretty good and got tore up to the point where I had to have a bandage put on it. But, you know, these things happen. One of the worst I've seen, though, in terms of, like, damage, wasn't to his person, but this guy was in the pit and the sleeve of his leather jacket got caught on something and it just tore right off.
Ooh.
So this guy just ruined a perfectly good $300 leather jacket.
That sucks.
Which he didn't seem upset about. So, you know, all power to him, but I'd be fucking pissed if somebody ruined my leather jacket.
Same.
And yes, we're metalheads. We all have one.
And I have very broad shoulders, so it's like difficult to find a leather jacket that's tailored to my fucking torso.
Same, dude. Like, I'm not only broad, I'm tall. So it's kind of hard to find one that is made for that, but also wasn't made for well, I guess I am fat now. Damn it. This is what getting old does to you, folks. Don't do it.
Yeah. Shout out to the dad bods out there.
Take care of yourself while you're younger. When you're in your 30s, it's a lot harder to get back in shape.
Hey. 30s is the new 20s.
Tell that to my knees.
Yeah.
I can't even skate anymore.
Oh my god. That being said, I gotta go, guys. Thanks for having me.
Sure.
No,
of course.
absolutely. Thanks for coming on. And if you want to plug your channel real quick, I know we'll see you back here for Friday, but
I would if I could. If I link the channel, I think I'm gonna kick myself out.
somebody will link the channel.
Oh, thanks, guys. I had a blast. Maybe
It's always good having you on.
Maybe if you do another one, we can talk about conspiracy and the eye. Who knows? But
I've never said we're not doing a part 2.
Oh, okay.
Although, this being like the ultimate Halloween band, I may save it for next year.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Because we still have a bunch of Halloween material we haven't gone over yet either.
I would love for Mila to come on and do either in like a Nightwish or Children of Bodom or any kind of finished.
Children of Bodom would be an interesting one. I might have to call my buddy Luke for that one.
I could definitely.
He is a huge fan of Children of Bodom.
I could definitely come on and speak as much as I can about inside workings of the band.
Oh, so you actually know about them.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know any of them personally, but I know people who do, but I would have to be careful what I say.
No, absolutely. Whatever you feel comfortable telling us. And We will talk about that off air though.
All
Because
right.
that's a very interesting idea.
Are you into Gilded Surfer, Mila?
She
I
is.
am, but I never
Okay.
opened Gilded. But
You know, Jared, where he's on the Gilded page, but he never checks it.
yeah.
He checks it once a week when he goes to get the StreamYard link for this show.
Basically,
Yeah.
I need to get better at being on Gilded more, but
That's why I just
Same.
set Gilded as one of the pinned things on my browser or on my taskbar.
mm,
I just downloaded the
So
app.
whenever,
It's
so
like-
when I have updates, I just see it.
there you go.
Yeah, I have the app, but I just have to, check it more often. All
Well,
right,
the
guys.
the real thing is you need a good PC.
Well, as I am talking from my iPad here. Maybe one day. That's the
Yeah.
goal. All right, thanks, guys.
a good
Listen
one.
to King Diamond, No Presents for Christmas when it's Christmas, okay?
That's
Absolutely.
a hilarious song.
Their
absolutely.
Christmas,
Absolutely.
his Christmas album is actually underrated, and far too few people know about it.
Mm-hmm. I
And
love the
you know what?
covers.
Maybe if I'm set up by them, we'll do a favorite Christmas metal
Oh, yes.
album
Ooh,
stream. That would be fucking amazing.
perfect.
Because I have some suggestions too. But always good to have you on, Mila, and thanks for showing up.
Thank you, guys. All right. Bye-bye.
Good
Bye.
night.
Later.
All right, and with that, we are back to the three of us.
Hey.
Oh man, but this album, it's hard to overstate. Like I said, just how
Mhm.
fucking killer these three albums are.
Hmm.
Like,
Oh,
if you're a fan
absolutely.
of heavy metal, if you're a fan of horror movies, and if you're a fan of both, then go fucking buy it. Buy all three. You're gonna love them all.
It lives up to the hype.
It really
lives
does.
up to the hype. I know some people get like, oh, I've heard this fucking. People keep telling me, leave me alone. No, go out and buy it. Trust me.
And
It
Soul
lives up to the
Assassin,
hype.
I know who does guitar on that album, and it's Richie Faulkner from Judas Priest.
Mm-hmm.
And holy shit, everything Christopher Lee ever put to music with his band was fucking phenomenal.
Interesting. I'll have to check this out. I didn't know about this.
Christopher Lee actually did a couple of metal albums.
That's cool.
Yep. Charlemagne.
Dude, because why the hell not? He's Christopher fucking Lee.
Right.
Why wouldn't he add metal singer to everything else he's done in his life?
Right. Yeah.
The
Man's a
song he
legend.
does. Yeah, the song he does with the Rhapsody of Fire singer.
Mhm.
That
Oh
first
yeah.
one, that was what introduced me to Christopher Lee as a metal singer. I was like, what the fuck?
And
Count
it's cool.
Dooku
It's
is a
cool to
fucking
hear.
metal
I mean,
singer.
and Fizz, yes, he is. He's a singer.
Yes.
And the amazing
Oh,
thing
yeah.
was hearing a power metal singer who's a baritone.
Right. Yeah.
Because almost everybody goes way up in the register, not down, and he is in the basement.
He's in the basement. I love that.
And hey, Commander Phil, good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, Christopher Lee, you heard it here first, folks, was a metal musician and loved the genre too. He was a huge fan before he started actually doing his own content. And oh man, the Charlemagne stuff is great.
Oh, you gotta.
Which is
you gotta watch
apparently because he was distantly related to the man. At least if Dankula's metal or Mad Lads on him is to be believed, Christopher Lee is actually distantly descended from Charlemagne himself.
Mhm.
Which I can believe because he was huge too. He was like 6'5".
Wow. Yeah. That's tall.
The link I posted in the chat is the Christopher Lee Rhapsody song that I first heard. It's fucking amazing.
Very cool. Very cool.
Check that out, guys.
Yeah, I mean, everything Christopher Lee does is amazing, whether it be on screen or on audio. It's Christopher Lee.
Mhm.
hmm
He's a perfectionist in everything he does. And it's not even just the perfection, it's the gravitas that he adds to it just by his presence.
Yes.
And like people kind of look at you funny these days when you say it, but like some people just have a presence about them. And Christopher Lee was one of those people. Like that's why he did so well in all those Hammer horror movies as Dracula. He just had this big, ominous presence on screen. It was glorious. And his voice has the same kind of charisma on audio. And yeah, he actually got permission from John Tolkien himself.
Very cool.
Play as Gandalf if they ever did a Lord of the Rings movie. But when Peter Jackson screen tested him and, you know, did the audition, he had already given the part to Ian McKellen.
Okay.
And also his menacing form and that big, looming, deep voice.
Yeah. Nobody else could have been Saruman but him.
Like Peter just was like, yes, you are the perfect Saruman. We're doing this.
Yeah, he did a really good job in that role.
Oh, I mean, perfect. You could not find a better actor to play that role than him. And he was just a master of almost everything he did. But Christopher Lee was just a fucking legend. And not only that, he was not only part of World War II, he was part of the most British branch I've ever heard of, titled the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. I'm not kidding. That's a real thing.
They actually called it that? Wow.
Yes, they did.
That's awesome.
Because England.
Yep.
Just England things. And it's one of the most amazing things I've ever heard. Just like ungentlemanly warfare. It's like you just picture a bunch of guys throwing some dude out of a Jeep and just donning their top hats and beating him to death with the tip of their cane. It's fucking glorious. And apparently on the set of Lord of the Rings, Peter was trying to give him direction on how to act when he was stabbed from behind.
Yes.
And he just turns around to him and goes, Peter, that is not how that sounds. And basically described it in detail because he'd done it. Just like, oh. Peter, that's one of those moments you're just kind of like, okay.
That story is why you watch the special features on a DVD and Blu-ray, because that was the first time I had heard it. It was on the behind-the-scenes making of it.
And this is why you buy the special editions, man, because you get the behind-the-scenes shit that you just don't.
Exactly.
Otherwise.
And the extended edition, only extended edition, because you get more Christopher Lee in the extended edition.
And yeah, Ruben, he was. He was one of the actual Kingsmen.
That's right, Ruben.
Oh, and yeah, Soul Assassin has the actual quote.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone calls him Mr. Jackson, too. And everyone else would think he's being polite. In British, when they refer to you as, like, in the British tradition, when they refer to you as Mr., they're being disrespectful in the most polite way possible. It's hard to describe, but it's like referring to an officer as Mr. It's considered extremely disrespectful, but it's still tolerated. Like, it's not insubordinate yet.
Right.
But yeah, that is the most British way of saying that ever. Mr. Jackson, do you know what a man sounds like when he's stabbed in the back? It's like, that's one of those that's like, I'm afraid you're about to show me. Yeah, the remake of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory had its problems, but he was not one of them.
I'd never watched the remake. Like I just prefer the.
I mean, I watched it with my ex one time. It was all right. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible.
Yeah. I've always loved the original with that.
And just because I think I can do a really good impression of it, we'll see how it comes through on the mic. Mr. Anderson.
Nice, spot on. I like it.
I love, dude, Hugo Weaving as almost anything is just fucking killer.
Yeah, I would agree.
Like, especially as Agent Smith, like,
Yeah,
playing
They
like
fucked
the
up.
Antichrist to Neo's
Christ.
Messiah.
They should have brought him back. They should have found some way to bring him back for that.
Oh, I don't think Hugo Weaving wanted to come back. I think he was done with that character. And to be perfectly honest, I think they should have left it there.
They couldn't.
I don't even think the third
Thousand
movie was
years.
all that good.
No, I hated it. I hated the third movie.
No, the real world scenes I love. Like, the Battle for Zion and all that.
Yeah. With the mech warrior kind of shit they were.
Yeah, the APUs. Those things were fucking kick-ass.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I loved it.
Storms.
They were just fucking mowing shit down until they finally go down themselves. It was just glorious.
Yes. It was 300 before 300.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, actually, what? Yeah, it was before 300.
Yeah, it was like November 2003 when that came out.
Yeah. But I remember seeing those scenes in the theater, and Jesus Christ, was it cool.
Yeah,
But the rest of the movie left a lot to be desired.
yeah.
And they leaned, I think, a little too much into the religious imagery.
For me, it was they didn't tie up the loose ends that they brilliantly gave us in Reloaded. And if they had stuck the landing, I think it would be a lot more well received. But I was just like, I was totally asking more questions at the end of it, like why did they no.
Yeah, they just kind of pull the rug out from under you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean the anime dude,
Yes.
Soul Assassin, the Animatrix is on another level.
Yeah, I own that myself. I don't know if it's on Blu-ray.
Especially the historical records where they're talking about the original war between humanity and the machines.
The Second Renaissance Part 1 and 2, it's called. That's fucking incredible.
It's gory as fuck too. Like
At
you
the
see
end, when they're
guys get their skulls torn apart, fucking ripped off at the limbs.
Right.
Like, it is brutal.
That should have been made instead of Resurrections or whatever. I would have loved to have seen that because it's very prescient. How
And
far are we
honestly, the
going to
soundtrack's
create-
great as fuck if you're into EDM or synthwave.
Yeah.
Dude, it's an excellent soundtrack. And there's some other parts of it too that kind of fill in gaps in the lore, like the first one, which how the message gets back to Zion.
Mm-hmm.
It was really, really well done. I own it on DVD, and I think most people who are fans of the first film should.
Yes.
Some of it's kind of irrelevant, but still cool. Other stuff is really, really good, like Second Renaissance. And Fizz, I would say that if you're a fan of the setting, it is pretty much required watching. Because it fills in so much of the story that we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
I would say
And the
Animatrix
best
and
part, especially
Flame-
about Second Renaissance, is it's believable.
Yeah.
That's what's so scary about it. Like watching it and watching the end, it's really fucking disturbing.
Dude, it's like I've been on a kick recently of like listening, watching through like some BattleTech lore videos from the Age of War up to the Star League, and then going on into the Succession Wars. And it's believable that nations would behave this way.
Yeah.
And it took basically a world getting bombed into non-existence to the point where the victor basically, congratulations, you won the planet. It's now an irradiated Hulk that has nothing on it. I hope you're happy. And that's what it took to sign the Ares conventions of basically, okay, we can't keep doing this.
Right.
But it took, hundreds of millions of deaths to do that. Okay, man. I mean, hey, The Matrix isn't for everyone. And really only the first movie is all that good, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't know what you guys think.
I really liked the first movie, and I really liked Matrix Reloaded too.
The second one I didn't think was as good.
Oh, certainly not as good, but I
I
like
did
how they
like it,
expanded
but
the
I
lore.
wasn't. It wasn't just as mind blowing as the first one was. 'Cause the first one was a seismic shift in freaking cinema.
Mm-hmm. Bullet
Charles,
time,
what did you
slow-mo.
think about it? Okay, apparently he's not here right now. But no, it was Zambi has it nailed. 1 and Animatrix were great, but the sequels didn't really live up to the hype.
Yeah, the sequels weren't as great. I definitely do prefer the original one.
I'll be right back. Vent for me for a minute, guys.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah, no worries. Yeah, I never watched what's it called, the new one, Resurrections.
Oh, good. Don't.
Yeah,
Don't watch it. I mean,
yeah.
they could have done some good things with it because they did at least acknowledge the continuation of the story post Matrix Revolutions, where the machines, some of the machines sided with the humans and some of the
Mhm.
machines didn't, and there was this like machine civil war. And I thought, God, that's great. That's really interesting. They should really dedicate a lot to that. No, it was like a 5-minute flashback. That sucked because the movie, that part of the movie, I was like, yes, I want more of this, and that was about it. The fucking Doogie Howser as like this Agent Smith character was. They shouldn't have done it. They just shouldn't have done it.
Yeah, yeah. I had wondered about it. And I remember hearing about how like one of the one of the writers, right? Because you know how it was like the two twins, shall we say, that were like responsible for writing the Matrix series, but it was
Mhm.
one of them that felt like, oh well, they just had to write a new or they had to be a part of like writing this new Matrix movie because they heard about some studio or whatever was gonna make this new one and they wanted to be a part of it and didn't
Yeah, and
miss
the
out.
other one wanted nothing to do with it.
Yeah, and when
And especially after they saw what the result was before the movie actually came out, they actually put a tweet out like, "I just want you to remember I had nothing to do with this."
yeah, yeah, and when
That's the moment I knew this was going to be a fucking shit show.
one of the interviews or one of the videos where they were like interviewing one of the twins, and you could tell from the way that person was responding that they didn't really know like what kind of direction they wanted to take the movie. They just wanted to be a part of it. I was like,
Oh, dude,
why did you make this in the
are
first
you
place
talking about the
anyways?
red carpet interview they did?
Yeah, yeah,
Dude,
a red carpet
they
interview,
were stoned out of their mind.
something, man.
Like, like I could probably get you out of bed baked and still get a more coherent response out of you.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, she had no idea where she even fucking was.
Yeah,
She was like,
yeah. Well,
it's like, oh, Jesus Christ.
technically he, but
And
we won't
sadly,
really get
Zambi, I
into
do remember
much.
Jupiter Ascending because my girlfriend at the time dragged me to see it.
Oh, that movie? I barely even remember what that movie was about.
I don't even, I watched it in the theaters and I couldn't fucking tell you. It's
Man,
basically
yeah.
Twilight, but worse.
The movie
Twilight was
was
only one of 2
amazing.
movies I've ever walked out of because I was promised a vampire movie, and what we got was not a vampire movie.
Mm, yeah.
That must have been horrible. Just sitting there, I was like, "What?"
It
the
was.
fuck?
I lasted until we got to the sparkly vampire part, and then me and the boys just walked out.
Yeah.
We're like, no,
Yeah, when vampires start
I've seen what I
sparkling,
need to.
yeah, when they start sparkling, that's how you know it's just it's a no-go.
Yeah, I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm done.
The vampire stuff I grew up on was like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Blade. And
Blade.
yeah,
Dude, Blade. I remember the Blade movies back in the day were fucking awesome.
Mhm.
yes, totally awesome. I still think that first Blade movie is an all-time classic
Oh, it
comic
is.
book film.
And probably going to be a million times better than the new one that they're planning. Because oh
Yeah.
my god, it looks bad.
Yeah.
They haven't even started really filming yet.
It's gone through some
Fucking
development
shit
now
show.
because the guy who's playing Blade hates the scripts, and the show I think is a little bit on the hot seat. They're not really sure what to do with it.
Yeah, Zambi's right. Blade 3 was kind of cringe.
Triple H with fangs and a little dog was
Yeah.
And anything with Ryan Reynolds in it is hit or miss for me.
Well, he is also Deadpool. So I'll
That's
give
what I'm
him that.
saying. That's a hit, but that Blade.
And he's the
thing,
perfect casting for Deadpool too,
Oh,
because Ryan just
absolutely.
has that kind of mentality
Yeah, absolutely.
of just being an agent of chaos. And the cool, what I kind of want them to show in Deadpool 3 is Wade being the bad guy, because he is at some points.
Mm.
Maybe that's how it's going to work out. They're going to have Wolverine as like his conscience.
As the antagonist / protagonist.
Right.
Because when you tell an anti-hero story, like sometimes the villain, if you're viewing it from the main character's perspective, is actually the hero, which I love. Because a couple of Deadpool's comics, he's actually played the villain to Daredevil and a couple of other people. And hey, Trucker Rob, how's it going? And oh, dude, this sounds so bad.
I knew something was up.
And when the director is speaking up and saying fucking shit like that, you know you're in for a ride. Like that's one of those like buckle your seatbelts, kid. This is gonna get bumpy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he's like a lot like Robin Williams in a way, where he needs a cast that can keep up with him. Which was why Miranda Baccarin did so well as his love interest in the first one. Because she has that kind of sense of humor. Because she worked with Nathan Fillion before.
Oh, yeah.
I always get Reynolds mixed up with what's his face, Gosling.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Ryan Gosling. Yeah, I can see that. They do kind of look similar.
Just because of the it's literally just because of the same name. I'm terrible with names, but I think the only movie I've really seen Ryan Gosling in that I actually like is Drive.
That's a great movie.
Drive was
It's a
good.
great
What was the
movie.
one he did in 40s LA?
40s LA? Was it La La Land or is it a
No. It
different
was another
one?
one before that. It was like a detective story. It was kind of like a film noir. I remember seeing that with a girl back in the day, and it was good. I liked it.
Film noir. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'd have to look that up because I know I saw it. It was good.
I haven't seen many of his movies either.
Gangster Squad. That was it.
Gangster Squad. I've never heard of that one. Okay.
I would actually recommend it. It was a decent movie.
Okay.
It stars Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone.
Okay.
Oh, no. The Nice Guys I saw too. That was from the 70s though. Like the era that they're doing it is it's basically Russell Crowe and Ryan Reynolds as two hitmen in the 70s. It's kind of fucking awesome. And Rob, I know apparently he started reading All Quiet on the Western Front.
Oh, yeah.
That book gets dark.
It does.
Very dark.
It does. Yeah.
And I love the last lines of the book, which should be the first lines of the movie, but apparently are not. Actually, let me pull it up so I don't get this wrong, because it's a great quote. This book is to be neither an accusation nor a confession, and least of all an adventure. For death is not an adventure to those who stand face to face with it. I will simply try to tell of a generation of men who, even though they may have escaped shells, were destroyed by the war.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect fucking description of that. And like it does a very good job of it with telling what went on the front without judging either side.
Yeah.
Right.
And World War I's a lot easier to do that with than World War II, in my imagine, because Nazis.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
defined evil. Absolutely.
Because in World War I, there was no real wrong or right. It was just two different groups of alliances that had bad shit happen, and all of a sudden, boom, here we go.
Yeah.
It should have ended as a war between Austria and Serbia, and it just spiraled
Yeah.
until almost the entire world was involved.
Don't worry, boys. This is the war to end all war. Yeah, but why
Yeah,
are we still going?
I'm amazed that anyone ever believed that line.
The war to start all wars, more like.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it didn't start all wars, but it started one that was even worse than it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what really led into the military-industrial
We were just
complex.
talking about that. I think, was it backstage or right when we started the show? We Shall Not Grow Old. That Peter Jackson documentary I was talking about.
Yeah,
World War One. Yeah, that was
you were
that's
talking
one.
with Mila about. Yeah.
Absolutely watch it. It is
Okay.
haunting as fuck.
Yeah, I'll have to add that to my list.
And World War One, I think, was the more brutal of the two.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because, like, you know, hundreds of thousands of men would die, and the line would move maybe 600 yards.
Yeah.
And then the next month, the enemy counterattacks, and the same shit happens over again.
Sometimes only a few yards. Yeah.
Yeah, rinse and repeat for fucking 4 years.
Yeah.
I've actually seen on YouTube a video of a real-time, like by day, map of the Western Front,
Mhm.
and pretty much from when the trenches went up in late 1914 till the Americans started arriving in 1918, and we finally just had the weighted numbers to just start pushing through the Germans.
Mhm.
The entire Western Front in any given sector moves less than a mile,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
we have probably tens of millions of dead.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the first battle of the Battle of the Somme. The British lost 50,000 killed in the first hour.
That's a lot, man. That's
That's
brutal.
the bloodiest day in British history.
Yeah.
And I remember this one moment. I think they talk about it in one of the documentaries I've seen. I don't know if it's that one, but there was a unit that was on the Somme front from Devon in England, and they basically got everybody from Devon together in the town auditorium essentially, and just told the boys are gone.
Mm,
And they asked which ones, and they're like, all of them.
yeah.
Every man in the city of Devon from 16 to 50 had been killed in the span of an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the sheer scale of World War One. We had never seen that in human history before, where entire groups of guys just wiped out in seconds because tactics had not caught up to the machine gun or more accurate artillery fire yet.
Yeah. Absolutely
And
brutal.
the only way to do it was a frontal attack. So you just get mowed down by machine guns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Soul Assassin, especially the no more horses thing. That happened early on where the British tried to charge down a few German positions with cavalry.
Didn't work out so
Thinking
well.
just like the old days that they could basically catch them on the reload and get in there and start killing them before they could reload. With modern machine guns, they just mowed the horses down.
Yeah.
Which I feel honestly really more bad for the horses than I do the riders, because they did nothing to earn it.
Right. Right.
They had no choice in this. They were just doing what they were told. And unfortunately, the easiest thing to do as a marksman is aim for the horse. Because if the horse throws the rider's going to be pretty fucked up.
Mm.
I don't know if you've ever fallen off a dirt bike before, but it's rather similar, but taller.
Well,
that's if the horse doesn't run over you.
Yeah, I almost fell off a horse once. It's pretty frightening.
Is that the 1,200-pound animal?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, horse got spooked and almost like jolted and ran off, and then trying to calm it down and like reared up on its hind legs and almost fell, but
no, I mean early. And the funniest part I think is the second two he brings up, or the first two he brings up, is chemicals and shotguns,
mm-hmm.
which when we got involved in the war in 1918, the Marine Corps especially, because we were trained as mostly shipboard security at that point and a naval landing force. Well, we were used to fighting close quarters.
Right.
So pump action shotguns were part of our inventory. So we had the M1897 trench guns with an 18-inch bayonet on the end of it. So we had a 6-round pump action shotgun in a trench with an 18-inch bayonet on the end of it. That's not horrifying at all.
Shit. That seems
And
pretty
it was so
cool.
effective that the Germans actually tried to call it a war crime.
Oh shit.
At which point we brought up the fact that they invented the flamethrower and chlorine gas and was basically, do we really want to play the game of who's the bigger asshole here?
Yeah. Good point.
At which point the Germans just kind of shut up. They're like, yeah. Like when you bring chemical warfare to the battlefield, you kind of don't get to claim the moral high ground on whatever the enemy does to you after that.
Yeah.
Because especially the early chemical weapons like chlorine gas. I mean,
Yeah.
there are entire death metal bands that have done songs on
Is that
what
the same
chlorine
as
gas
mustard
does
gas?
to you.
Is that the same as mustard gas?
Yes.
Okay.
They called it mustard gas because of the yellow color.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Which-
it's essentially chlorine gas.
Chlorine gas. Is that kind of like it was like the more brutalized version of what we have as tear gas now, or is it
No.
the same thing?
This
or...
was lethal.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's also why you never mix bleach and ammonia.
Ah, right,
Because
right.
that reaction will create a very mild form of mustard gas.
Mm.
And will, in an enclosed space, will actually kill you. And getting a dose of mustard gas is not fun.
Oh,
You will basically cough
sure.
up your lungs over the course of a week.
Tear gas is basically pepper spray. Oh, okay, okay. I see, Trucker Rob.
Yeah, tear gas is not that bad. I mean, tear gas is what we use in the gas chamber now.
Gotcha.
So it's just annoying enough to let you know that you either weren't properly sealed or something about your mask is fucked up.
Okay.
Chlorine gas, you will actually just die.
Yeah,
And it's not fast unless
that's
you get
brutal.
a really big dose of it.
Yeah, that is absolutely brutal.
If you get just like a kind of lungful of it, you'll sit there and hack up your lungs over the course of a week, but you're still going to die.
Damn.
It's brutal. Like the World War I chemical weapons were far less lethal than their modern counterparts. Like modern nerve agents, if you get a trace amount on your skin, you'll be dead in a minute. But they were rather more horrible.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll have to look up and see who's done, other than Sabaton, albums on World War I, because that can't be the only one.
I'm sure there are others. Yeah.
Like that war is metal enough that, like, let's face it, you had the first involvement of tanks. You have, like, machine guns, airplanes being used for the first time, the U-boat, which actually I learned fairly recently that HMS Dreadnought actually has the claim to being the only battleship in history, despite being the first modern battleship. She's also the only battleship in history to sink a submarine. Because apparently one had to surface in front of her and she rammed it. And cut it right in half. Which, you know what? Okay. Oh, this little tin can popped up in front of me. What should I do, sir? Floor it. It's like something you'd see in World of Warships. Which I do play every now and again. If you guys, I may stream that at some point. Like may stream like me and either Herbs, Chewy, or Trucker Rob playing. And oh man, we have some fun. I suck at it. But I'm driving a fucking battleship, so it's still entertaining.
Chemical Warfare by Slayer.
Oh yeah. That one's a famous one.
Lyrics. Yeah, this has got to be about
Oh, it is. I know the one you're talking about. It's one of my favorite Slayer songs.
Yes.
I had not remembered that was.
Thinking about what other bands possibly, and I thought about that one.
Well, I mean, it's obviously Sabaton with Attack
Sabaton,
of the
yep.
Dead Men.
Oh, yep.
Fizz, World of Tanks came far before World of Warships. And in my opinion, they've both kind of followed the same trajectory where they were really good at first, and then they added mechanics in that made them not fun anymore. In the case of World of Warships, that would be the carriers. Carriers used to be like, I get why they reworked them because they were pretty boring. Like you basically just sit at the back of the map and you're just almost like playing Battleship, the board game, where you're just sending aircraft to various grid squares and then seeing what they see. But nowadays they're fucking horrifying. Rob, you know my opinion on carriers, you piece of shit. You are the fun police. Especially because I drive a battleship and I'm the most vulnerable to you, even though I have the most AA guns out of everyone. I don't get how that fucking works. Used to be... it's not an RPG. It's basically just an MMO battle game where you do unlock stuff as you go along, like different ships. Oh, 1v1 you in a carrier, Rob? Really? Can I take my Minakaze? Destroyer versus carrier. That's not going to go well for one of us. Oh, that would be hilarious if you actually beat me in a carrier. Ugh. Ugh. Actually, no, I have the perfect one for you to 1v1 me with, a Des Moines. Basically the highest and these things actually existed in real life. A lot of some of the higher tier ship designs in that game don't really exist or were never actually built. Like they exist as paper designs. Like the Montana is the perfect example where we did have a design for it.
Mm-hmm.
But we never actually built one. We canceled them before we needed to. And the Des Moines class cruisers, though, there's actually one in Quincy, Massachusetts, USS Salem. And she is absolutely terrifying.
Oh, I bet.
Because it has 9 8-inch guns that can reload in 5 seconds.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And trust me, the World of Warships version is just that terrifying.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh yeah, it's a cruiser. It only has 9 8-inch guns, but they fire how fast? It's like it has destroyer levels of firepower, but heavy cruiser levels of fucking impact. And all of a sudden, you're just getting murdered, and you're just like, what the fuck is that thing? And the correct answer is it's a coke-fueled monstrosity, and I love it. I don't have one yet, but I want one. Which is why you guys need to play with me more, so I can actually get some tier 10.
Yeah, we need to get some games in sometime this week.
Well,
Just been playing.
I keep messaging when me and Rob are trying to do it, and
Yeah, I know. Recently, I've been stuck on Modern Warfare 2 since it launched.
Don't blame you. Well, I'll tell you what. After we get done here tonight, probably 9 o'clock or so Eastern, I'll probably jump on MechWarrior 5 for a little bit, start a new campaign.
That could be fun. Yeah, I just gotta make sure my parents don't want me doing anything in the evenings. Usually cook on the weekends, but yeah, it should be free.
Yeah, and I think in the beginning of the campaign, I have to play through on my own because it's kind of the tutorial.
Right.
But once we get through that, I would love to drop with you and freaking teach you the ways of the Stompy Robot.
Hell yeah.
Yes, Rob, you were. Slacker. I can gift it to you if you want. I have it. And now that we have each other on Steam, I can just send it right to you. I know I did that to you, Herbs, right?
Yep. Yeah, I've been wanted to play that game for a while.
Coming.
Just
It's
like,
called, I mean, that's
where do
coming.
I
It's
start?
called, well, it's already here. It's called Elite Dangerous.
Elite Dangerous. Yep.
And also Star Citizen, whenever the hell it releases.
Are you thinking of the new Bethesda one that's coming out?
No,
or-
that's a different one. Star Citizen has been in development for like 8
Oh,
years.
Star Citizen. Yeah, dude. When is that game ever going to fully release?
I don't know, but I actually have access to the alpha
Oh, nice.
because I backed it a million years ago. I
Very
do
cool.
really, really like what they have. And if they polish everything to that level, this is going to be the best game ever made.
Yeah,
But I don't know that it's ever going to release fully.
If it'll ever be at the level that they want it to be at, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing is Star Citizen is fucking gorgeous and I love it to death, but it's never going to properly release because the scale they're trying to do is just so ambitious. Which I like that they're pushing the boundaries as far as they can. But there does come a time after like a decade of development that you just kind of go, this is beyond us.
Mm-hmm.
Do what you can with it and then leave it. And then wait till the technology catches up. Because that's the thing. They've already had to change engines twice. And that takes months to change from one engine to another. Because that's the entire underpinnings of the game. It's very similar to swapping an engine in a car. It is a very, very time-consuming and very annoying process that requires a lot of fucking know-how and a lot of heavy lifting. Star Citizen, that has not been answered yet. But a lot. Elite Dangerous, I think, is the entire galaxy.
Yeah. Elite Dangerous is supposed to have like, I don't know if it's to scale, but it's supposed to have the entire galaxy and like in-game time to travel from one area to the others.
Supposedly, it's most of these stars are where they should be.
Okay, so it's supposed to be to
well.
scale.
So it's actually to scale in terms of where everything should be.
Yeah, because I've heard people talk about like how long it takes to travel from one quadrant to another, like weeks of real time. Like it's pretty crazy.
Oh, I mean, if you look at it, like the fastest rocket we have today would take centuries to get to the nearest system.
Yeah. Elite is
And
one for one
some
scale.
of them are, some of them aren't.
Yeah.
But Elite is a really good game. I would check it out. I fuck around with it entirely. I dick around with it every now and again. It's one of those ones I keep coming back to, so I do enjoy the game.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like BattleTech, where there's so much to do that you can't do everything in one playthrough.
Right.
So I'll constantly come back, start over, do another kind of character, start over again. And yet, Elite just added in some infantry combat, which I find cool as fuck. Like, imagine being like role-playing as a Marine. We're just kind of hanging out on these transport ships, going from place to place, and then just go down, kick ass, and then go home. I fucking love it. Because that's literally what we do. Oh, man, I would geek out so much. Oh, dude, I know Star Citizen's going to be a fucking resource hog. 100%. It's going to get bad. But I'm here for it. I even have my HOTAS still because I use it for MechWarrior 5 sometimes. I have a throttle and stick. I actually entertained the idea, and apparently MechWarrior 5 can't do it, where I was going to have two sticks. One for left arm, one for right arm.
Oh, okay.
And then the pedals to drive motion.
Oh, okay.
but apparently MechWarrior 5 cannot support that kind of input. So
That sucks.
at least
That'd be
I
cool,
haven't
though.
found a way to make it to.
Yeah.
Marauders. I haven't played that yet. I may have to check that out. If it's anything like Tarkov, I think I will enjoy it.
I think Marauders just recently came out, like within the past month or so. But yeah, that's how a lot of people are saying it's like Tarkov in space.
Okay.
You play as like space pirates and stuff. And
Well, speaking of, after the stream and all of that, I think we've just about covered everything we could on this episode. And man, the point that everybody needs to learn is listen to King fucking Diamond.
Mhm.
fuck yeah.
You owe it to yourself, if you're a fan of the genre, to know who this guy is and listen to pretty much everything he releases, because it's all worth it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But with that being said, Sentinel, what do you got going on this week, man?
Nothing much. I was gonna try to put together a dystopia music video, but I just can't right now. I'm so busy. But you can find me at the Sentinel on YouTube, and you can find me on Instagram at the Sentinel. Fuck, I forgot the number. I think it's the Sentinel 43. I'll just quickly check. Hold on. Yes, the Sentinel 43 on Instagram.
Hey, I actually remembered a thing. That'll never happen again.
Yes. But yes, King Diamond fucking rules. Hopefully we'll get to the Conspiracy in the Eye and all those kind of underrated 90s albums he's put out.
Yeah. Yeah, I do feel like I haven't given a lot of those albums their fair due. So we will get back to King Diamond in due course. Like I said, maybe next year for Halloween, we'll do another stream on him.
I highly recommend you get Voodoo. It's probably the best story-wise concept album, and it's heavy as fuck as far as like the 90s stuff.
Oh yeah.
And Herbs, what do you got going on this week, my friend?
Yo, I got a lot of like IRL or in real life stuff I've got to deal with this week, so I won't be doing too much streaming wise. But definitely in like the next week or so, I'm thinking about like putting together a stream with some friends, talking about what we all think about the new Modern Warfare game. So that'll be coming up pretty soon. But yeah, this week, more than likely, you'll just be seeing me in friends chats on YouTube and Twitch, just because I don't have much time to stream. But in a couple of weeks, I definitely will be streaming quite a bit more.
Okay. And you did say you were gonna set up a YouTube channel at some point, right?
Yeah. Slowly getting that put together. I still don't have like anything as far as like clips or graphics put together for like an actual stream yet, so I've got to work on that. But the channel is pretty much ready to go. Just got to start posting content, which that'll be happening in like the next few weeks or so.
Cool. I look forward to seeing it, man.
Hell yeah.
You've had a lot of great insights on these streams. I can't wait to see what you say about some of these movies and stuff.
Sweet, appreciate it, dude.
And if you want to jump in on the Veterans Day stream as a kind of a movie buff, we're going to be doing 2 movies as part of the stream, so you're more than welcome.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be really fun to go back and watch All Quiet. It's just been a while since I've seen that
And the
too.
new one apparently is great.
Yeah,
I've heard a lot of very, very good things. So
Yeah,
you know what? I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. That'd be fun.
I mean, you said you've read the book before. It would,
Mhm.
and like I said, it's only 240 pages, so you can get through it in a day if you really want to.
Oh yeah, that's light reading for me.
Yeah.
I
So,
every year spent summers like reading and rereading the Lord of the Rings like trilogy book,
yeah,
like the 3-in-1
and you
book.
get
So
disappointed because you read through The Hobbit in an afternoon.
right.
You're like, oh,
Yeah. Tolkien's writing is great, don't get me wrong, but like when you stack The Hobbit next to the Lord of
and
the
those
Rings,
400 pages have a lot of shit. They are
yeah.
packed,
yeah.
and there's not one word in there that's wasted.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the quality of writing is great in the original trilogy. I love it. But yeah, I'll definitely be in chats. We'll be having a show coming soon. I just need to get like all the actual like on stream like graphics and stuff ready to go. But a few weeks out from here.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see it, man. Should be a
Cool.
great time.
Yeah, definitely.
And as for me, well, I've already told you, I'm going to be on 70s Rock Band's channel tomorrow for It's Only Talk and Roll. This one's going to be a general chat. He just hit 600 subscribers, so we're all just going to be kind of celebrating that and just talking bullshit about whatever, kind of like we usually do, but a little bit less directed, which should be fun. Other than that, Veterans Day this coming Friday, I am going to be doing a stream with a whole bunch of guys, a bunch of vets, and maybe some civilians too, to give us some different perspectives on All Quiet on the Western Front. I'm going to be comparing the new movie to the 79 movie and to the book. I know there's a movie from 1930. I'm not going to include that because I don't think it's fair. Because it's so long ago and the technology was so primitive. I don't see how it can possibly hold up against them. So I'm going to compare it against its most recent competitor from 79 and then the new one. And then see if either of them holds a candle to the book, which is going to be hard to do. But either way, you guys know you're both invited to that as always. And that should be a great time. And other than that, you should see, once I finish it anyway, because this showed up a couple of days ago, a review of this little beastie right here, which is the graphic novel for Screaming for Vengeance. My favorite fucking album of all time, in case you needed a reminder.
Oh, it looks great, man. I love that. I love
Oh,
that
dude,
artwork, too.
I would heavily recommend it.
Yeah.
But even the story actually is pretty good. Like a fall from grace and all that kind of stuff. So
Sweet.
I dig it, and I think it's super creative to take a heavy metal album that's maybe 30 minutes long and turn it into a whole graphic novel.
Right.
And it doesn't even really necessarily have anything to do with the plot of the album. It touches on the concepts, yeah. But like it's kind of its own original story, which I really dig. And especially if you get the larger hardcover, this thing's big. And it's well worth getting the hardcover, I think. And I will absolutely be fucking ordering that King Diamond graphic novel. Which, thank you to the Sentinel for letting me know that was a thing.
Oh, absolutely, no problem.
That will be added to the Pope Cave as soon as I fucking get it.
You know what?
And
I
I'll
just
probably
discovered?
be doing a review on that as well.
You know what I just discovered? It's gonna hurt your wallet. But Dio Holy Diver has its own graphic novel too.
What?
It's me.
Yep.
I now have to own that too.
Well, it's not too bad. You can get it on paperback for on Amazon for about $16. So that's not too bad.
That's not too bad.
And Ruben, like, you know what? That would be a good idea for like a year end. Like, especially for like top 10 from that year.
That is what I'd like to do too.
Because you know what? Like a top 10 album all time, like, they're mostly going to be the same.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would be fun.
Because there are certain bands that just rise above the others. Like obviously they might be in different order, but they're going to be right up there among everything else. And reviewing old albums, that's what we do here, baby.
Hell yeah.
The first album we talked about today came out in 86, which is a year older than I am. Although I have been staying away from Black Sabbath because there is in the works a full-length stream, like EFAP level stream, that's probably still happening. I haven't heard anything on it in a while, but it has been planned between me and a bunch of other guys to cover every Black Sabbath album from back to front.
Tony
So starting
Martin.
with 13 and going all the way back to Black Sabbath itself.
Wow, sweet.
That's going to be a fun fucking panel. And there's going to be a lot of familiar faces from this show on there. 70s rock fan, Nick Weiser, Imperatus. And maybe I can get some of you guys on the panel too, because I know you guys love Black Sabbath as much as the Net guy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Rediscovering like the lost era with Tony Martin has been such.
Tony Martin has some good shit. The Shining, especially, is a fucking
Yes.
banger.
Mhm.
Yes.
And
Fear
you
is
know what? He
underrated
sounds
also.
a lot like Dio.
Yeah, he does. Like a cleaner, less distorted version of Dio.
And he has that soul behind him too.
Mm-hmm.
That, oh man, we'll talk about that. Even if the Black Sabbath stream never happens, we will talk Black Sabbath at some point, boys. I promise you that.
Yes.
But with that being unsaid, that pretty much does it for this week. So for those of you who want to watch 70s Rock Fans channel, I'll see you tomorrow. If not, I'll see you Friday. And for those of you who don't watch either, well, I'll try to record some pre-recorded stuff so you have something for me in the meantime, but I am taking a hiatus, so I'll see you when I see you. And with that being said, take care. Stay safe. I love you all. And I'll catch you next time.